Wah! It's me, brr. The big scary. I've got to set my dad up. And in the process I saw that iMouse has a new model. That's crazy. Oh, well, we return to good old... Go around the right way, please, earphones. To good old Steins Gate. And today we will actually play the game, because I'm not pressed for time like yesterday. And we can't do clear routes anyway, because I've done them all, because I'm amazing. I mean, sure, we're like barely into the game, but we'll just say that we've done all of them so far, because I'm amazing. That's the story we're going with. But, the question is, what one do we do? I'm thinking we set up a random number generator and have it choose for us. Because I don't like making decisions by myself. So, if I quickly backspace. Where's start? There we go. Well, we have 4 choices. We'll have Kurisu's be number 1, and then we'll go 2, 3, 4 downwards. Let me get up. Google, if you'll work for me, please. Random number generator. Alright. We'll have the max be 4. We'll generate. It says 1. Awesome. I mean, sure. I kind of did want to save Kurisu's for last. Well, not last, but I wanted to save it because I love Kurisu. She's awesome. But you know what? I certainly have no quits with doing it because Kurisu is awesome. So let's hop in. Let's do the Kurisu run. Woo! Woo! Vermilion Societa. Or Soteri. No, I said that right? Fuck, I gotta do one voice. A dark space. Where am I? What is this place? Why am I here? Wait, am I even? My head throbs lightly. I look to my left and to my right, but I can't see a thing. Just a dark space, pitch black. There's no sound but the ticking of a clock. Am I in a sensory deprivation tank? No. I don't remember entering one, and if I had, I wouldn't be able to hear anything. And I can still hear the eerie sound of a clock. Tick, tock. I try to calm myself down and search my memories for answers, but my head is still unclear. Everything is foggy. To start with, who am I? I ask myself, but I can't remember anything. The sound of the clock is so strangely unsettling. I want to ignore it, but the harder I try, the worse it gets. It's scrambling my thoughts. Who are you? I'm a woman today. I should have put my woman toggle on, but in light of the fact that my drawing is absolutely terrifying, I'm not going to do that. What's happening in the life? Well, since yesterday, as I said yesterday, that my cousins came over, we had a nice family get together and the food and all that. Since then, after I streamed, honestly, I ate and then I went to bed. And then I woke up at like 3 in the morning, went on YouTube, saw that Murder Drones had dropped a new episode and was like, ooh, I'm gonna watch that. So I rewatched all of Murder Drones. That's what I did. A daily in it. Alright. do my best northern British impression. Or London. Either way. I'll do one of them. Man, the day's so crazy. In it, fam. And there we go. That's your daily in it for you. Just why? This isn't one of Okabe's stupid pranks, is it? Well, you can't remember who you are, but you remember Okabe, you know, that's a good start. No, He wouldn't do anything this crazy. Huh? Okabe. Who is that? Even in this state, you still remember? Well, I mean, I don't know who's speaking. I'm pretty sure it's myself talking to myself. But since it says question marks, we won't do it. Eh? It is me talking to myself. God damn it. I knew it. Me? It's 2 AM, you're going to bed? Alright, thanks for stopping by. It's great to see you. Sleep well. Make sure you get some good sleep. A female figure appeared before my eyes. Even with my uncertain memories, I was convinced the figure standing before me was me. So you understand at least this much, don't you, Makise Kurisu? Makise Kurisu. I like how Kiyoma's started off just regularly and normally, but Daru's and Kurisu's have just started off in some like fantasy of their own. At that moment, a torrent of images rushed into my brain, although I guess Okabe's entire storyline was a imagination. 11 years ago, on my birthday, when I upset my dad and shattered our relationship. My mama taking me with her as she moved to America. Working brutally hard to graduate college early, and working as a researcher at Victor Condré University's Neuroscience Institute. This year, when Papa, real name Shoichi Makise, publicly known as Dr. Nakabachi, sent me a letter saying he will hold a press conference to commemorate the completion of his time machine. Temporarily returning to Japan as a sort of reverse exchange student at a Japanese high school, and then... Huh? What's the matter? You don't remember? What happened next? I came to Japan and was murdered by my papa. No, that's not it. I met that weird person in the lab coat at the lecture and... No, I met that person in the white robe before Papa murdered me. My memories become convoluted. Multiple intersecting memories tangle up inside my head. I ended up being friends with Okabe, even though he initially annoyed me at the ATF lecture. That's right, I remember. Okabe Rintaro. It all started when he began claiming that I was a ghost and that I should be dead already. And then at the lecture, he disputed the theory that time machines cannot be made with technology available to us in this timeline. Which caught my interest, so I went to visit his lab. And they really were making a time machine. That's right. Humans can travel to the past in flesh, but they were able to send mails to the past. D-mail. That's right. Then we repeated the D-mail experiment to verify whether we could send a message to the past to change it. Then over the course of our experiments, Okabe and I... You seem to have remembered quite a bit. So, can you remember what you were doing just now? No. What was I doing just now? Actually, that leads me back to my original questions. Just what is this place? And why am I here? Thinking rationally, the most reasonable explanation is that this is a dream, and I am currently asleep. As far as I can remember, I was staying up all night upgrading the phone wave. I was trying to make a more advanced time machine that could not only D-mail to the past, but people's memories as well. But now that I think of it, I just don't remember falling asleep. If this is a daydream, it's unusual for it to have taken over my senses to this extent. I feel like a cat's crapped itself somewhere. Better if not. I'll be furious if it has. I feel like I can smell cat crap. We'll just pray that it hasn't. You're on the right track, but you're also incorrect. How could it be both? Wouldn't that mean I'm just wrong? How very like you. Always demanding such black and white answers. If there's no right or wrong in terms of the words we use to communicate, the meanings we assign to them lose their value. Isn't that only natural? Yes, you're right. You should be just as you are, even in the coming story you will soon experience. Story? What is she saying? Most dreams tend to be an incoherent mishmash of ideas, which makes the relativity logical through line of this conversation all the more strange. Even if my brain is producing the dialogue by association with external stimuli, there are still many odd factors. There's no need to be so deeply concerned. You should just accept things as they are, and simply be as you are. The story may be like a mirage, your memories vanishing the moment you leave this place, or it may be some sort of illusion. Perhaps it's a vision of something that never existed, an unexplored possibility. Regardless, now that you are here, you have both the right and responsibility to see it through to its end. What do you mean? August 13th. On August 13th, 2010 at 2:06 p.m, this is where our story starts. And it concludes at 5:34 p.m, the same day. Huh? My consciousness jolts in reaction to the date, the time. A time not in my memory, but for some reason deep inside my heart, I felt shaken. My consciousness fades. The sound of the clock won't leave my ears. The wheels of time, they draw an infinite spiral that eventually loops back to whence it came. I should know full well where their trails lead. That's why you must confirm things for yourself, and save it all. Save yourself. Save him. Wait a minute! You can't just force me to... My consciousness rapidly clouds. The sound of the clock gets louder, as if to consume my thoughts. My awareness flakes away as the bell rings. It's like I'm falling asleep, or rather, waking from a dream. And then, Done! Connecting the last two cables, I declared my success to the lab mems, and especially Okabe. I've successfully upgraded the phone way, creating what may be the first world's first time machine. I did read that right. Capable of sending not only information through time, but humans themselves. I improved the D-mail functionality, the technology that lets us send information to the past via email to allow us to compress the human consciousness to 36 bytes and send it to the past. Of course, the sender and the receiver must be the same person, and we can only send their consciousness, or to be more specific, their memories. Nonetheless, this machine represents humanity's first steps into the realm of time travel. I believe we may have just created something extraordinary. That's right. We've created a power that can transcend the law of causality and change the world. Everyone here understood the weight of what we'd done. And so, though we were in the presence of this tremendous invention, none of us expressed even a hint of excitement. I've done something terrible. My chest is filled with dread. I followed my personal impulses to test my theory and bring my idea into being. Propelled by my lab mem's shared passion, I pressed onward with my creation. But now that it's completed, I'm completely overwhelmed. Initially, I had a feeling I shouldn't create a time machine. The very existence of a time machine defies common sense. It holds the power to rewrite history, to change the past, present, and future. Our world is governed by the rule of cause and effect, but a time machine completely breaks the rule. In the event of a failure, one can travel back in time to remove the cause of said failure, thus ensuring that it never happens. A disruption would be the same. Travel to the past, divert, or eliminate the interruption, and you can complete what you're working on undistracted. This is akin to holding the power of a god in your hands, militarily and politically, at least. Scientifically, its value is immeasurable. Which is precisely why this technology must not be allowed to exist. The power of a time machine would be too much for humanity to handle in a more civilized future, let alone now. The rockets and nuclear weapons of the 20th century were the same way. A small number of people who controlled these technologies creating an imbalance of power on the world stage. Even in the 21st century, the scars of that imbalance still remain, scars that restrict scientists such as myself to this day. But now, I've created this. I've created a time machine, for no reason other than I wanted to see if I could. I understood how dangerous it could be and even feared it. I rejected the very idea that it could exist, but even then, I was driven by my curiosity about the unknown and my desire as a researcher to push the bounds of possibility. The same motivators that led me here, to the Future Gadget Laboratory in the first place. When I saw the experience Okabe and the others were conducting, when I saw them send mail to the past with the phone wave, curiosity consumed me. And the result was this upgraded phone wave. Hashida. Mayuri. And even the leader of the Future Gadget Laboratory, the self-proclaimed notorious mad scientist, Hoin Kiyoma, Okabe. None of them could bring themselves to speak. I looked from face to face, seeing uncertainty in each one. But eventually, unsurprisingly, the first to speak was Okabe. Yeah, of course. All things considered, the way he directs everyone else around him is very leader-like. That said, given that his first reaction is for us to come up with a name, tells me that he's not taking this seriously enough. Eventually, we decided the upgraded phone wave would be given the name of Time Leap Machine, though that was also subject to change. Okabe came up with a far more Shunibyo name during the process, but ultimately Mayuri chose the simple name that I proposed. Then, at Okabe's urging, I proceeded to explain how the Time Leap Machine functions. Oh, whoa! A diagram! Me on August the 13th, 2010, Hippocampus. The memory data to the Time Leap Machine goes to CERN, it's compressed, and then sent back to the machine, and then that sends it to the phone, beep beep beep, and it sends it into the memory. Awesome! Brilliant diagram. Essentially, this device converts one's memories into data, passes the data through a ring singularity, and sends it to the past. The receiver will then acquire the memories of the future self. The Time Leap Machine's biggest innovation, as stated previously, is the ability to send the user's memories into the past. To transcend time, something must pass through a ring singularity. Simply put, the area near a black hole. If anything physical attempted this, it would be crushed by the black hole's supergravity. Suffice it to say, physical objects won't be travelling through time anytime soon. However, we were able to circumvent this issue by converting the user's memory into data, and sending that data through the ring singularity. This area is not to scale. And that was only made possible by the existence of CERN's LHC. Hashida's hacking gave us the ability to manipulate the LHC, which is able to create mini black holes. In turn, this allowed us to utilize the infinite compression of the supergravity created by the black holes to adequately compress the memory data. With this extraordinary power, we were able to complete the Time Leap Machine. I finished talking about the Time Leap Machine's functions and dangers, and then take a breath. It seems that Mayuri is zoned out due to the complexity of the topic, but Okabe and Hashida seem to have understood sufficiently. Then, my lengthy explanation complete, silence descends upon the laboratory once again. Okabe, Hashida, and I study each other's facial expressions. It's clear that we're all trying to delay an important decision. How to make use of our time machine's godlike power. Once again, Okabe finally broke the long silence. He cleared his throat, took a breath, and spoke. Well, that has an answer, and it's not great. Okabe surveys the room as he speaks. His gaze settles on me. He probably wants me to state my opinion. Sitting in silence in the middle of a debate, as you might expect, is what is that? I can't speak French. It is a researcher's duty to offer and discuss their opinion, whatever it may be. But I had my reasons for not speaking up. I was conflicted. Obviously, this isn't something we can freely use. As I said earlier, to monopolize and abuse an ability so godlike would produce the same sort of problems that nukes do. However, it would be a lie that I didn't want to experiment. I wanted nothing more than to test my creation out and see if it worked. This is absolutely my ego speaking, my self-righteous, inconsiderate desires as a scientist. This is like Werner von Braun, who, in pursuing his desire to go to the moon, developed rockets for the military, only to see his V2 rockets turn London into a sea of flame. My internal sense of what's right and my desires as a researcher were in conflict with one another, which is why, when Okubei's gaze fell upon me, I felt there was nothing I could say. Why is this man only serious in times like this? I grit my teeth and inaudibly curse under my breath. This man, Okubei Rintaro, is a surprisingly serious person. Even if his Chunibyo comes out in full force when he's worried or backed into a corner, when I talk about my problems with my father or if the other lab members are having a hard time, he treats us all with care and respect. And I can tell from the look on the face that he's absolutely serious right now. The one staring at me isn't Hoen Kiyoma, but Okubei Rintaro. This is something we can handle alone. Oh, this isn't something we can handle alone, that's for sure. The safest thing we could do is hand it over to a research institution and treat it as a national project. I muttered my response, knowing full well that I hadn't quite convinced myself. I want to experiment. However, there's no way we can handle something like a time machine, and given the risk involved, I just don't want to use it on a whim. You know, I wouldn't give it, to the public domain though. You can't trust humanity. Do one small test yourself. If it works, you go, yay, we've done it, now let's never use it again. If it doesn't, try and get it to work. Yeah, no shit, Mayuri. She gave moral support! And was making cosplay outfits. It didn't seem like Hachichi and Mayuri understood the enormity of the situation at first, but from the way they're acting I can tell that they are completely blind to it. Which means that the most important opinion is Okubei's. What about your opinion, Okubei? And to clarify, I'm not asking for Hoen's, but Okubei's. I emphasize this last point, given that Okubei often retreats into the Chinibyo act when he's stressed. There's a possibility he would have answered me as Hoen Kiyoma. Still, I think the chances of that would be fairly slim, even if I hadn't nipped it in the bud. As I mentioned earlier, Okubei is fairly serious deep down. In a sense, the reason I emphasized my desire to hear Okubei's opinion was to show my faith in him. As long as it is Okubei Rintaro who speaks and not Hoen Kiyoma, I will abide by his decision. That was my intent. Even if he decided to perform an experiment, I would be willing to be our test subject. Okubei said, after a moment of silence. I swallowed my breath. If that's what you've decided, my resolve strengthened. Those words were on the tip of my tongue. But before I could speak them into being, Okubei continued his thought and put an abrupt stop to my momentum. Smart man, Okubei is a smart man. His assertions were correct. The time leap machine alone had its share of problems. And that's before we get into time paradoxes. For one thing, we can't conduct an experiment with an animal or stand-in, we need a human test subject. I thought of experimenting on myself, but I have to admit, I was afraid. Although I was prepared to offer myself up as a test subject in my excitement, Okubei's words put a stop to that. He asked the other lab members if they were willing to volunteer. Unfortunately, by halting my momentum, Okubei may have put a stop to our experimentation. There was no way Hashida or Mayuri would volunteer. And I think Okubei might have known that. I reckon Mayuri would do it. She'd be like, sure, as long as you get me some fucking chicken. The fact that he spoke at that exact moment may have been a calculated move to kill my momentum. He usually acts like he's incapable of such calculations, but I understand his intelligence skyrockets in critical situations like this. Or rather, I've come to understand that. After some half-hearted exchanges, the conversation once again came to a stalemate. Mayuri, who had been silently watching this whole time, finally spoke up. I mean, if you want, Mayuri, we can send the bananas memories to the past. While untenable, I could tell that Mayuri had put some thought into the idea. Her carefree attitude helped soothe my frayed nerves. Well, Mayuri, bananas don't have brains like humans do they? That's right. As I mentioned earlier, the time leap machine needs a human test subject. That was the source of all my fears. I'm one of the major hurdles to overcome for this machine. Mayuri didn't even try to defend her idea after my explanation. She may have been aware that her theory is misguided in the first place. So does that mean she thought it necessary to speak up to ease the tension in the air? Maybe she didn't think it so much as feel it. I fully understand in the 2 weeks that we've spent together that she's no fool. Knowing that, perhaps the superstitions aren't too off base. I just said all the wrong words there, but that's fine. And her gambit seemed to work. The tension filling the lab had now transformed into something different. Okabe said as if guided by the change in atmosphere. I mean, it's probably I still wouldn't say that's the best idea. Like, I don't trust humanity with jack shit. Neither Hashida nor I had any objection to this decision. As long as we entrusted the decision to him, that was the sure outcome. A little while later, I was finally able to calm myself down. Humanity's first time traveller. The temptation to use a time leap machine to claim that title was nearly overwhelming, to be honest. It would both prove my proposed theory and symbolise humanity's first step into a previously unknown dimension. I imagine these first people on the moon felt much the same way. But at the same time, there's still fear inside of me. Both the fear of the unknown and, worse yet, the fears passed down to me by my father. My father, Shuichi Makise, is a time machine researcher, but because time travel theory is not yet sufficiently tested, the field is publicly regarded as little more than crazy pseudoscience. My father, Papa, lost everything when people labelled him a junk scientist. He was so attached to the idea of the time machine that he lost his job as a researcher, separated from me and my mama, and was even abandoned by his best friend, who was funding his research. But research often pushes into the realms outside of common knowledge. The now commonly accepted Big Bang theory and the theory that black holes will collapse stars were both laughed at the time of their publication. Theories that we now consider essential to our understanding of the universe were thought to be junk science. That is why, as a scientist, it is inappropriate to reject things without a second thought, even if they are seen as crazy. All things deserve proper verification and confirmation. When I told myself this, I still found it hard to accept. In my mind, ideas that are too bizarre, too crazy, or too new are best avoided. To be blunt, the Big Bang and black hole theories were the exception to this rule. Most of the junk theories we see in this world end up being just that, junk. The time machine theory is certainly among their ranks. There is very little evidence to back up the time travel claims, and mountains of reason to reject them. In essence, the junkiest of all junk. So as a scientist, simply the fact that we've made a time machine is incredibly stressful. I don't want to end up like Papa. That fear strikes me directly in the heart. That's not my only fear related to him. If my Papa, who sacrificed everything in his life to research time machines, if he found out that someone else had successfully created a time machine, I'm afraid of how he'd feel. It's true that Papa and I were estranged because I rejected the time machine theory when I was younger. But at the same time, that theory motivated me. If the time leap machine actually works, regardless of whether or not his specific theory is correct, nobody could call him a junk scientist for studying time travel anymore. He might even be able to receive funding from a major company again. It's hard to stand still thinking of that. I could fulfill several personal goals by testing the time leap machine. Stating my curiosity about the unknown, fulfilling my desires as a scientist, enabling my Papa to be accepted by the scientific community, enabling him to accept me. But at the end of the day, all of them only serve to feed my ego. There's no reason for us to wield the powers of a god. Okabe's decision to call off the experiment helped me realize this. I breathed a sigh of relief from the bottom of my heart. It took some time for me to accept it, but I can't help but think of how extraordinary Okabe is. He helped me realize something I'd nearly lost sight of. He may be annoying, crazy Chunibyo, but still. I suddenly look at the clock. 4:54 p.m. How is it already this late? I guess time flies when you're sleep deprived. Almost 5. Though we opted not to test the time leap machine, Mayuri suggested that we celebrate its completion, which turned out to be a good decision. It would be a shame not to have any sort of event to look forward to after working through the night. I'm not one for parties, but the lab I worked at in America would take any excuse to throw one. My professors and supervisors told me that we scientists wouldn't last long without them, which is why it was just about time for me to go out and buy party supplies. Okabe and I have been tasked with shopping for food and drinks. Mayuri has already gone out to investigate other lab members. I can't read today. To invite the other lab members, and Hashida had left, citing some other obligations. Okabe's got a call. All of a sudden, Okabe's cell phone rings. Is someone calling to say that they're coming to the party, or could it be from Mayuri or Hashida? Wow, I think he may have just time-leaped. Okabe answers and puts the phone to his ear without a greeting. He lets out a trembling breath. Based on his reaction, it's likely that Hashida's launched into some lengthy story. It's certainly not the way he would answer a call from Mayuri. Out of curiosity, what is on my phone? Ooh. What wallpaper can I get? I'm gonna put all these ones. I can even have myself sleeping as a wallpaper, which is interesting. But I think we will, I mean, the metal looper kind of fits. Man, why do we not have like an @channel background? That would be, can't really think of things that, that Kurisu likes, so we'll just leave it as is. But I was curious in my mail. No mail! Oof, I don't have any friends. Unlucky. I approach the sofa where my jacket lays, intending to swap it with my lab coat and head outside. At that moment, out of the corner of my eye, I see Okabe lift a folding chair into the air. Okabe, what the hell are you doing? Shocked at what I was seeing, I ran over and grabbed hold of him. I planted my weight on the tatami mat on the floor, and reached up to catch his arms before he brought the chair down. I was so surprised that I didn't even have time to think. What was Okabe trying to do just now? If I'm seeing things correctly, Okabe was about to bring that chair down on the time leap machine. Did you just try to destroy it? I couldn't believe what was happening. Okabe probably cared more about this machine than anyone else. While we decided against using it, its very existence marked the beginning of a new era for humanity. So why would he destroy it? At this point, the machine is just not our own. Fuck. One could call it an asset to the entire human race. An asset like that absolutely must not be destroyed by a single man's decision. Okabe stares blankly into space without saying a word. He wasn't so much looking at me as looking through me. There's no need to destroy anything. My voice trembles. I don't understand. Perhaps this is an Okabe that I've never seen. One I don't even know. We're not going to perform any time leaps. We already decided that. Isn't that enough? I was angry, confused, and above all, uncertain. Once again, the fear of the unknown crept over me. All of these feelings mixed together and spread through my body. Just put the chair down. Still struggling with how to resolve the situation, I ordered Okabe to put the chair down. He slowly complied. That's when I finally realized. Okabe's air had completely changed since just a few minutes ago. His face showed signs of distress. He looked like an old man who had lived a life of suffering. I don't know what happened to him, but his pained expression looked as if it had been carved from the Okabe I once knew. You look pale. What's wrong? Oh, hello Connor. How goes it? I'm playing a woman today. And I'm talking to a very, very sad man. Okabe doesn't respond to my ignorant question. He completely clams up. The agony on his face is clear as day, yet he chooses to suffer in silence. If this was his usual Chunibyo nonsense, if it was all an act, that would be fine. In fact, I wished it were. I'm good. It's nice, bright and early. It's probably one of my first early morning streams, I can't lie. But I'm all ready and pumped for the day. I'm up early for once. after having a nice good amount of sleep. I would rather Okabe try to make a fool out of me than suffer something that would make him look like this. Are you listening to me? Frustrated that I don't understand Okabe's pain, I close in on him as if to press for an answer. And in response, Okabe ran. Well, fuck you too. Hey, wait! Ignoring my words, Okabe dashes out the lab. I tried to stop him, but couldn't move fast enough. Hold on! I told you to stop! Angrily shouting at him, I ran after Okabe as he took off toward the streets of Akihabara. But his head start was too great. By the time I reached the hall, Okabe was nowhere to be seen. Where did he go? Why would he do that? My head swimming with questions as I tried to intuit which way Okabe ran. I heard a door opening behind me. Yeah, it's all your fault, Tenoji. You fucking set Mocha up on this. The ruckus? Okabe's gone crazy, as per usual. The voice behind me belonged to this building's owner, Tenoji-san. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you happen to see which way Okabe went? Yeah, it's morning for me. British time, old 9 in the morning. Since it's late night for you, I'm guessing American. Maybe West Coast. That's gonna be my guess. Saying late night, my guess is West Coast. I could be completely wrong though. I mean, something's always up with Okabe. Tenoji-san tilts his neck and stretches his shoulders with a groan. It doesn't seem like he got a good look from inside his shop. As I turned back towards the streets and tried to decide which way to go, Nai-chan emerged from the shop as well. Thank you, Nai, for your information. Nai points down the road heading to Akihabara Station. If you follow that road from the lab, you'll find a park 50 meters away that creates a T-shaped intersection. From there, the path splits. One road leads towards Kanda Myojin Shrine, and the other to Churodori. You're in the Midwest. Oh, yeah, right. That's. Did I say? I don't even remember what I said. I said a side of. There's no way for me to tell which way you went. Okabe. I mean, he hasn't told me. He kind of just yelled at me and ran. No, nothing important. Just a little confusion. So don't worry. Thank you, Nai-chan. I thank Nai and run towards the heart of Akihabara, hoping to find Okabe. There's no way I can leave him in the state he's in. I had the feeling that I needed to ask him what was really going on before he did something that couldn't be undone. I scoured Akihabara, wandering aimlessly through the Kanda Myojin Shrine, the Sumagoi Shrine, and Churodori until I eventually found myself in an alley behind Daibaru. The sun had nearly set, dyeing everything around me in the distinctive amber glow of an August twilight. Where are you? I'm completely spent. My breathing had grown ragged, not because I don't exercise, but I haven't run this much in a long time. A nearby vending machine caught my eye and I suddenly realized just how thirsty I was. No Dr. P, huh? Now more than ever I wanted a nice refreshing carbonated beverage. Unfortunately, since they didn't sell my favourite brand, I had to settle for a can of coffee. Do you think they got paid by Dr. Pepper to like have them in here, or do you think the author of this game just really likes Dr. Pepper and gave it free advertising? I sigh as I take in my surroundings. No sign of Okabe here either. Where have you gone? I felt like cursing him out, but what came out my mouth was just the opposite. I wasn't angry at him, I was worried. You'd give free Dr. Pepper advertising? Can't lie, I'm more of a Pepsi man. For me it's Pepsi all the way. I finished my drink, tossed the can into the recycle bin and continued to look around. I don't know why I'm so worried about him. Because we're allies. Is it because of what he said to me? When did I start taking an interest in him in the first place? I was curious enough to observe him at the start, of course, but when did that basic interest become something more? I've only known him for a few days and my reservations have always been swept away. To be fair, I initially thought he was some sort of gangster or criminal, so his reservations were somewhat misplaced. He made me realize just how much of a facade I had built for myself during my time in America. While I've certainly been annoyed by some of my more stupid conversations with Okabe and Hashida, they've never caused me pain. Somehow, while it's hard to admit, I think I might be in love with Okabe. Damn, she came around and said it already. We've just started. I think I fell for him the moment he said he'd go to Amori with me. Oh, I remember that conversation. It wasn't here. Or maybe it was. I can't remember. It was outside in the anime. It might have been inside in the game. He said it so nonchalantly as well. Honestly, to me it felt like a proposal. The moment he said that, time seemed to stand still. She might be getting a bit ahead of herself if he says, I'll go to see your dad with you as a proposal, but there we go. You kind of pissed me off. I thought that Okabe must tell women stuff like that all the time. Otherwise, there's no way that's 6, no. 5 out of the 8 lab members would be women. Come on, you gotta get it right. No misgendering Lukako over here. Of course, that sort of thing would make women like me misunderstand what he really means. Does that idiot even know what he's doing? Have me as background to fall asleep? No worries. I'll try my best to have a nice, calming, relaxing voice for you in the midst of me screaming. Or maybe it's a sign of weakness on the part of the ones who fall for it, suckered in by a massive rush of dopamine. Ever since he told me to go to Amori with me, I watched that stupid man carefully. His words, his mannerisms. The more I watched him, the more I understood the meaning behind his Chunibyo act, and the more attracted to him I became. Ugh, no! There's no way I can admit that. I can't admit it. I can't, but, well, you know. He is kind of attractive. Is he? Is he attractive? He looks like he just doesn't shower, I can't lie. In that moment, I realized that I had given in. In that moment, I understood that being near him put me at ease. Or at least, it would if it weren't for the newfound nervousness after realizing my feelings for him. It's too late to try and control it now. I'm not the kind of person who can change her feelings once she's fallen for someone. I realized that the persona I wore at Victor Condria University's Neuroscience Institute, that of the outward-looking citizen, was unnecessary in front of Okabe. And when I let the mask fall, I felt at ease, more so than I ever have in my life. It's the same sort of freedom I get when I post on @channel. But Okabe is suffering, as if his joy is inversely proportional to my own. It's like he's unable to move forward. Though I don't yet know why, it seems that whenever he deviates from his usual state, my condition deteriorates as well. It's like I can't get air into my lungs. I don't like that feeling. Stop trying to struggle through it alone, and talk to me. You listened to my problems, didn't you? My thoughts are interrupted by the sounds of my cell phone. Could it be Okabe? No, it says Hashida right there. Holding on to this hope, I looked at the screen only to see Hashida's name. Hello? Yeah, Okabe just ran off on me. Without wasting a second, I tell Hashida all about Okabe's odd behaviour. I initially ran after him out of adrenaline and momentum alone, but now I realized that searching for him myself would be unproductive. What's Okarin's deal indeed? Awesome. Understood. I'm counting on you. Well, we got Hashida's help at least. Oops. I hope someone out there can help us find a clue. Closing my cell phone with what looked like a prayer, I ran off once more into the sunset-lit city in search of Okabe. As I wandered the city in search of Okabe, I suddenly realized how crowded the streets had become. Yeah, that's because of the terrorist threat. No, that's a typical I mean, I know sometimes this is in Japan, but that's a typical British response. Damn, terrorists! It's gonna make me late for work. Oh, selfish terrorists. I overhear some unsettling news. Terrorists? Here in Japan? As shocking as the thought was, no country, no matter how peaceful, is immune from the possibility of a terrorist attack. And with the public unrest growing lately, they only seem to be on the rise. Because research facilities are often targets, I've been given basic lectures on how to deal with acts of terror. But even then, I never thought I'd have to deal with an attack in Japan. Whether or not the rumour was true, the trains had been stopped. The once bustling railways now stood bare. I open my phone and take a look at that channel's news page to see if it bustling with threads on the topic. Ooh, we've got stuff to read. Oh, I can click on that. Why can't I click on that? Okay, I can't really click on it. It gives me false hope that I can click on it. That's just a bit weird. It's true the bomb threat stops the trains, blah blah. Old news. People are stuck. Where was the bomb? So fake, lol. I love the internet. The internet talks in this game. Up pics of what? 387? Why do they want pics this random person? That's just a bit weird. People already uploaded pictures of station attendants escorting people out of stopped trains. It seemed like it must have been going on for a while. And in front of Akihabara station, the crowd was so thick that they blocked the view of the road. It'd be practically impossible to walk through. What should I do? Finding Okabe in these conditions would be a challenge. But what if he got caught up in the terrorist attack somehow? Numerous possibilities swirl through my brain, coming and going like a hurricane. None of them are good. Anxiety, dread, pessimism, fear, frustration, unease. I can't just stand here, but I can't decide what to do. I know that acting without care would be fatal, but I can't even begin to formulate a plan. You got mail. What's my mail? Oh, it's from Ferris. Ferris-san? She's lab member 007, isn't she? Damn, this is the first message to me. Oh, they found Okabe, but he's acting strange. Alright, well, what are we going to do about this? They found Okabe after all? Thank goodness. But the part where she said he's acting strange disturbs me. I didn't know why, but a chill slowly ran down my spine. What am I replying? Alright, we're going to the lab. My first message was from a stranger. Awesome. I replied to her email and took a breath. My chest feels like it's going to be crushed with worry. Okabe, what's happened to you? Dragging my tired feet, I walked back the way I came. Has she died yet, is the question? I rendezvous at the lab to find Okabe, a petty maid and a middle-aged butler waiting for me. I assumed that the maid was Ferris-san. The middle-aged butler, on the other hand, was a mystery to me. He looked as though he'd stepped right out of a manga or anime. Okabe looks worn out to the point that it doesn't seem like he can even stand on his own. Ferris-san and the butler are holding him up with their shoulders. Okabe! I rush towards him without thinking. No, I'm just a random woman he has on the side. I am. Thank you, Ferris-san, for finding Okabe. Hashira had told me before that this girl was the Rainet champion, and that Ferris Nyanyan was a stage name of sorts. Of course, you always gotta help out good old Okabe. Does she mean Hashida? Could she still be searching for Okabe? Let's put that aside for now. And Okabe, is he? Well, okay, that I assume that Mayuri's had the accident then. Based on that, his face is as white as a sheet of paper now. So hearing that he was in even worse condition earlier makes my heart ache. Okabe's thoughts, his feelings, I have to find out what's going through his head. Okabe, what happened? Great, silence. But Okabe just stares at nothing. He doesn't make any effort to look at me. Speak, goddamn you!
とりあえず
There's no use in wasting our time out here. Come on, let's go up to the lab. We asked the butler to shoulder the hollow-eyed Okabe for us and made our way into the lab. I turned on the lights and was greeted by a horrifying sight.
何
What
これ
the hell? Blood stains on the floor.
これ
Farah-san gasped behind me, but her reaction was nothing compared to Okabe. Oh my, that is a scream and a half, and that is the weirdest font I've seen them use in this game. Oh gee, calm down, Okabe, please calm down. His scream echoes through the lab. He curls into the fetal position, weeping as he calls Mayuri's name. Okabe. We stood frozen, unsure of how to approach Okabe in this situation. But in the middle of the chaos, the butler alone calmly surveyed the room. He's like... he looks so uninterested. While the rest of us stood in shocked silence, he boldly approached the bloodstains and began to examine them. Well, you know, that's good news. The butler's calm, confident declaration made Okabe stand up and rush toward him. Well, I flippin' hope so. Okabe looked like a man possessed. Okabe thinks this blood might belong to Mayuri and Hashida. No, he's convinced of it. Oof. I mean, you'd think it's more likely to be Daru that was struck than Mayuri. This man's smart. Probably the Rounders. With tears in his eyes, Okabe nearly collapses under the weight of his despair. I grab him by the arm before he can... Wait, what? That doesn't make sense. Okay, I don't understand that sentence, but whatever. Talk, Okabe! What in the world is going on? What happened to Mayuri and Hashida? Try as I might, it was impossible to keep my cool. Two of my friends had just disappeared, leaving only bloodstains in their wake. Well, I'm not gonna know what that means. Son? Excuse me. Why? My heart stopped. CERN, the European Society for Nuclear Research, the world's largest particle physics research organization. Despite their over 40 years of time machine research, they have kept their results hidden from the rest of the world. Rumour has it they've even killed the human test subjects in their secret time travel experiments. Wait a minute! If they were here for the time leap machine, why would CERN kidnap Mayuri and Hashida? Besides, how does a research institution pull off something like this? What? But the butler just said... The man has a name, don't just call him the butler. I looked to the butler for confirmation that Okabe was incorrect. The butler merely shook his head with a slight smile. He seems confident in his assessment. But the reason for Okabe's grim proclamation was made clear by what he said next. Uh-oh. Wait. Then you... Dun 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 dun! My mind went blank for a moment. He had travelled through time using the time leap machine, the machine we'd agreed not to use due to the need for human testing. Though I had full confidence in my time travel theory, all theories are subject to experimentation and analysis before they're recognised as valid. That's why I felt both relief and regret when we decided not to test the time leap machine. What Okabe just said validates my theory and speaks to the machine's effectiveness. To say I was unhappy would be a lie. For a researcher, nothing compares to the moment a breakthrough theory of hers is proven true. For just a moment, the terrifying situation I was in melted away. All I wanted to do was ask Okabe about travelling through time. But this feeling of elation was shattered by Okabe's sorrowful howl. Save Mayuri. Oh damn, that art. Well, I can give you the rundown, but you won't like it. Mayuri has to die. I tremble at the cruelty of those words. Just hold on. If all this is true, why didn't you go straight to the police? I mean, you know, that is fair. You can depend on me, buddy. We end up sorting it out. Okabe screamed so loud I thought he might cough up blood. What? Can you actually scream so loud that you cough up blood? I don't want to try it, but I also do want to try it. If you get my, like, oh, well, I want to see if it works, but I also don't want to cough up blood. Mayuri's death repeated over and over, leaping through time over and over again. A hellish circle of time, an endless cycle of tragedy. No matter how many times he tries to save her, Mayuri inevitably dies, by someone's hand, through some ton of events, by sheer coincidence, between 7 PM and 8 PM. To be more precise, apparently there was one instance in which Mayuri's death occurred later than all the others. In that instance, apparently he was shown a picture of Mayuri transformed into a jelly man around 8 PM. I nervously checked the clock. 8 PM has already come and gone. If what Okabe is saying is true, then Mayuri is already... Okabe raises his voice, and I have to charge my phone, because it's running out of battery. In you go. Brilliant. More charging for you. Okabe raises his voice. It seems he noticed that I was looking at the clock, which in turn drew his eyes towards it. She might not be dead yet. And then he realized that it was already past 8 PM. Oh no. Before I'm fully aware of what I've done, Okabe's mouth and eyes open wide, in despair. Please calm down. Never before had I heard such an abject sorrow, and I doubt that I will again, as long as I live. And from his shock, Okabe bursts into madness. As he tore at his head and wildly swung his arms around, the butler slowly and gently approached him. Did you just fucking smack him? No one smacks Hoin Kiyama. And Okabe collapsed with a slight groan. He lost consciousness. I think you dealt him some serious physical damage right there. You knocked him unconscious. Fair enough. Faris-tan's eyes also flood with tears. Admittedly, I hadn't fully accepted everything that Okabe had said as truth, but looking at him now, I had no choice. I want to believe him, but if I do... At any rate, we can't just stand around. We need to do something. Son, the committee of 300 rounders, we were living in a nightmare straight out of one of Okabe's Chunibyo delusions. But this is reality, as the despair in front of us can attest to. Yeah, it's pretty much. We have to think. Hashido and Mayuri's faces emerge in the back of my mind, and in front of my eyes is Okabe, his pain evident even as he slept. There's no way I can ignore this. Okabe didn't just ignore my problems with my papa after all.
少々よろしいでしょうか。
黒木、何かいいアイデアがあるの？
As we struggle to make sense of the absurd and tragic situation before us, the butler, apparently named Kuroki-san, speaks.
はい。私も完全に事態が飲み込めているわけではありませんが、まずは旦那様に。
I mean, he has money. Maybe he can pay some to get us our boys back. Ferris-san's father. If he's someone we should consult at a time like this, could he be a cop? But Okabe said that the police were also under Son's direct control. Then what kind of man is he? He's a fucking rich man, is what he is. Regardless, I'm not thrilled about the idea of relying on an adult. I mean, aren't you also an adult? One can say that it's because I've accomplished everything in my life on my own. But at this point, our options were limited. And my experience as a working member of an American research institute does not chance the fact that I'm not even old enough to drink. I forgot, yeah, America, 19. You can't be drinking when you're 19. You gotta be 21. Losers. No amount of effort can make up for a lack of social experience, and I certainly haven't learned how to deal with things like this. Outside of contacting law enforcement, I have no idea what to do. And given that we can't trust the police, that puts us all the way back to square one. Normally I would have called bullshit on Okabe's claim that they had infiltrated the police, but the desperation in his eyes convinced me otherwise. Besides, if the tariff threat that shut down public transportation was Son's doing, we don't have much time to think. I saw Ferris hesitate for a moment, but in an instant she steeled her expression in a show of determination. We're going to your house? Her words catch me off guard. The time leap machine is a prototype, but it's only confirmed to work in this lab. If we leave, it's going to be a lot harder to keep it safe. That said, if we accept Okabe's claims, it's kind of odd that time leap machine hasn't been taken already. Then Kuroki responds to my question for Ferris.
マキセ様、お嬢様の言う通りです。ここは再度の襲撃、ご安心ください。我々が離れましたら、入れ替わりにここを見張る者を配置。
Awesome. Man, this guy's dependable as fuck. Ferris nods at Kuroki's words, her eyes beaming with confidence. The two of them seem to have the situation under control, insofar as it could be controlled. Who on earth are these people? It feels as though they're backed by a powerful organization, which struck me as rather suspicious. But I didn't have anyone else I could count on. Got it. Nah, they're just minted. Above all else, we can't afford to leave Okabe in a dangerous place like this in his condition. One look at the unconscious, agonized Okabe reaffirmed that belief. We readied ourselves to change location, praying Mayuri and Hashid to safety all the while. Akihabara Times Tower is the tallest condominium complex in Akihabara, complete with a view of Mount Fuji and Tokyo Tower from its top floors. At the top floor of this Akihabara station adjacent complex was Ferris-san's home. I must admit, a high-end condo with its own concierge service is certainly a much safer location than the lab's Ohiyama building. In fact, this might have been the safest place for Okabe given everything that was going on. On our way, Ferris-san reached out to her father to make sure he was home. She told him to make certain arrangements and that she would fill him in on the details later. Oh my god, he's got pink eyes. I don't remember him having pink eyes. He also looks really old. Rumiho, is that her real name? Ferris-san's father gave his daughter a big hug as he welcomed her home. Seeing a display of affection like this, one especially rare in Japan, fills my chest with a subtle, hard to describe emotion. I should be familiar with this. I know what the emotion is supposed to be, of course, but now's not the time to worry about it. I assist Kuroki in laying Okabe down in the bedroom. Kuroki tells me that he plans to call the family doctor later to give Okabe some sedatives. I sigh in relief. Then I return to the living room to formally introduce myself to Ferris-san's father. The man, having just finished hugging his daughter, smiled gently as he noticed me and enthusiastically offered his hand.
君がルミホの友人だね。秋葉ルミホの父、秋葉幸隆です。
Nice to meet you too, mate. I shake his hand without hesitation. I've lived in America so long that it's almost uncomfortable meeting someone without a handshake. I'm Makise Kurisu.
Makise Kurisu.
Oh, have you heard my name? I am quite famous. Yes, that's right. Still holding my hand, Yukitaka Ojisama tilts his head and looks at me. It seemed as though he was studying my face. Don't tell me he's one of those perverted old men. Just as I was about to ask Ferris-san for help, Yukitaka Ojisama mentioned a name I didn't expect to hear. Oh, fuck, yeah. That fella, yeah, fuck him. What? How do you know my father's name?
やっぱりそうなんだね。そうか。あのクリスちゃんか。すごい偶然だな。
パパ、マキセさんのこと知ってるの？
僕とマキセ翔一は大学時代の友人でね。
Well, you were the rich man back in his finances. Oh, it all comes full circle. No way.
しかも一時期は
Yeah, you funded his research until it became quack research. Oh, that's 10 out of 10.
僕がスポンサーで翔一が実際に研究で成果を出す。アドバイザーとして僕ら二人の
You funded... I feel like I've heard this story before. It was the reason my family had to move to Amori. You made us poor! At the time we were living in Tokyo and Papa was an independent researcher. But the reason we had to move to Amori, where my father still lives, is because the funding he relied on was cut off. You cut us off and made us poor! So this man is a reason I didn't get any toys when I grew up. I see. That's the first I've heard of that. What a name.
君はよく僕らの家にも翔一に連れられて遊びに来た。当時はお茶の水の方に家があってね。そこはうちの会社が傾きかけた時に売却したんだが、庭まであったんだ。そこで君とルミホは一緒に遊んでいた。
Yo, we used to be childhood friends. That's crazy. What?
ということは、私とマキセさんは
Childhood friends for the win. That's crazy. Ferris and I stared at each other in disbelief. So much has happened today that I feel like my nerves are about to short out.
というか、黒木もそのことは覚えているはずだろう。気づかなかったのかい？
He's like, yes, I just thought it would be funny. I mean, that's fair. There has been a kidnapping.
そうか、ありがとう。娘の友人を介抱してくれて。さて、では本題に入ろう。
Right. Yeah, right now my papa's history and my unknown connection to Ferris are irrelevant. Right now we need to keep our focus on Okabe. I'm sorry for asking for your help out of the blue.
いや、頼ってもらってよかったようだよ。
Huh? His tone was cunning and sharp, as if he had transformed from the easygoing, nostalgic man who stood before me at this moment. He was no longer a father, but a shrewd businessman. He's like, so, I'll give you protection for $1 trillion. Pulls off his hair and is just Dr. Evil. His gaze is sharp as a knife. His eyes are like a hawk's, taking in everything around him.
ルミホから連絡をもらった時は半信半疑だったけどね。
お世話になっている
A buddy of yours?
ああ、秋葉原で行われるお祭り、神田明神の神田祭りとかでびっくりしたよ、正直ね。確かに連絡があった通り、警察や鉄道会社に干渉があったらしい。
Damn, these rounders are getting about. My breath caught in my throat at what must have been the thousandth shock I'd received today. It's not that I didn't believe Okabe. but to know for certain that CERN is actually able to influence organizations like the police leaves me shaking.
君たちが戻ってくるまでの間に色々と調べてみたら、そもそもこの秋葉原一帯を封鎖して、
That's crazy.
見た目はそうじゃないけれど、まあ、警察のやる検問と同じだね。それで秋葉原から出ようとするクリスちゃんや岡部君を捕捉しようとしたんだろう。
Capturing us. I shuddered. We're being targeted by a powerful organization. Given that Okabe, Hashti and I were the driving force behind the time machine, we must be their main focus. Thinking on it now makes me even more worried for Mayuri and Hashti's safety.
君たちは一体何に巻き込まれた？具体的に詳しい話を聞かせてほしい。一体この秋葉原の街で今何が起こっているのか。
There was subtle anger in Yukitaka Oji-san's voice. It wasn't directed toward us. His anger was directed towards the intruders stomping through the place he lives, the place that he's built up and nurtured over the years. An anger born from the desire to protect the town he loves, like a mother bird defending her nest. In the end, it took the three of us, Ferris, Kuroki, and me, over an hour to tell Yukitaka Ori-sama everything that was going on. Well, to the extent that we were capable at least. The only one of us to time leap, witness Mayuri's numerous deaths, or know anything about CERN around us or the committee of 300 is Okabe. Under normal circumstances, his testimony would be invaluable for clarifying certain details and verifying what he had to say. But given his unconsciousness and extreme mental fatigue, that's simply not an option. It's not surprising. The shock and despair he's gone through would be unbearable even for someone trained to cope with the mental trauma. I'm only still standing right now because I'm forcing myself to think rationally, which is why we ended up telling Yukitaka Oji-sama Okabe's story on our own. It was a long explanation fraught with false starts, speculation and clarifications, but we finally finished. That said, Yukitaka Oji-sama's initial response didn't seem positive. He tilts his head down, frowns, and seems to lose himself in thought. He must not be able to believe it. No surprise there. It didn't come from Okabe after all. No, it's hard to believe even coming from Okabe himself. I wouldn't have believed in myself if he weren't so desperate. I would have written it off as yet another Chunibyo fantasy, Otsu. Yukitaka Oji-sama unexpectedly breaks the silence. Yes? Yep, and I know what my father's research was. Correct. Though I have to admit that I'm still having trouble comprehending that. It was when Yukitaka Oji-sama's funding ceased that Papa's lifeline as a researcher was cut off. I remember him telling me that when I was little. But that was just Papa's perspective. Yukitaka Oji-sama must have had his reasons. But that's all in the past anyway. I don't hold any grudge against Yukitaka Oji-sama. Why is his name so long and I have to say it each time? Although Papa did take Mama and me back to his home to Omori so that he could devote himself to his research without worrying about money. Maybe that was a sign that he'd already lost hope. Of course, I know that Yukitaka Oji-sama had his reasons. Papa had told me that he might have pulled his funding because his company was facing financial issues. That's why I don't intend to hold him responsible for what happened. There was something strange in his voice, as if sorrow, anger and nostalgia were all blended into one. And I find myself stunned at his question. I've never been told the finer details of Papa research with Yukitaka Oji-sama, but Papa only ever researched one thing. I can make a pretty confident guess. Yes, I know. Once again, the shadow of my father looms over me. And yet... For Papa and Yukitaka Oji-sama, these memories are treasures from their early adulthood. Well... You must at least believe it's possible then.
すごい
Shut the fuck up, Ferris.
せめてロマンと言ってくれないか。
Whoa, that looks immensely like Suzuha right there. I can't lie. Yukitaka Ojisama told us briefly about the transcendence of the theory of relativity committee. Papa and Yukitaka Ojisama's mentor, the professor, was the first to research time machines. It all began when Papa snuck a look at his notes. The dream of the time machine inspired Papa and Yukitaka Ojisama into forming a group with the professor they once avoided. The group became what Papa dubbed the transcendence of the theory of relativity committee. The professor had all the ideas and inspiration, but didn't have the scientific and technological means to make them a reality. Papa handled the actual R&D. In other words, the professor had the ideas, Yukitaka Ojisama had the funding, and Papa the research and engineering. This was how the committee functioned. In that way, it's a lot like our future gadget laboratory, where our crew centers their work around Okabe. Okabe has the ideas, I construct the theories, and Hashida conducts the actual experiments. This means Papa handled both my and Hashida's roles. The parallels are obvious. Yukitaka Ojisama must have realized this when he heard about the timely machine, which would explain the complicated emotions in his voice. The next generation succeeded where his failed. Did his odd tones stem from pride or from jealousy? Of course, there's no way for me to know for sure, and I may very well be oversimplifying things. He's clearly dealing with some complicated personal feelings.
同じものを作ろうとしていたからわかることもある。いや、違うな。僕がわかっているわけじゃないか。
This may not be the first time I've heard Yukitaka Ojisama doubt his own words.
どういうことですか
What do you mean?
多分ね。僕はそのセルンと300
Yeah.
人委員会のことを。
This time it was my turn to frown upon hearing Yukitaka Ojisama's words.
二つの方面ってパパどういう
一つ目は僕がというよりも僕たち
Ah,
の
I
教
see.
授はタイムマシン研究を極秘に行っていた。いつどこで誰から漏れるかわからないから協力者正一はその方針にあっさりと賛同してたけど、僕は共同出資者が欲しかったタイミングもあったから少し困った時があったね。けど今にして思うと教授はセルンがそういうところだと知ってたんだろう。
Motherfucker. In other words, he had remarkable foresight. But then there are cases like Okabe. It's difficult to tell what the truth actually is.
では
Then, what's the second perspective?
300人委員会のことだよ。これも正確にはそのものを知っているというわけじゃない。
That's fair. Again, I couldn't help but be puzzled by Yukitaka Ojisama's words. Seeing the questions written on my face, Yukitaka Ojisama spoke with a gentle smile.
クリスちゃん、君からすると秘密結社というのは現実離れしてフィクションじみた大層なものなんだ。
I mean, I guess. Huh? I wasn't able to come up with a response to the bizarre inquiry. No, it seems he expected my reaction.
実はね、秘密結社っていうのはありふれた珍しくもなんともないものなんだよ。
Makes sense. The underground. He's familiar with it. I don't even know what I'm up against. Faced with the reality of his statement, my brain retreated to one of my regular at-channel references. Sensing my inability to process what I was hearing in my blank expression, Yukitaka Ojisama explains himself more simply. Essentially, it boils down to this. Oh, whoa. Long ago, before the Industrial Revolution, the publication and distribution of information was far more costly than it is now. Additionally, with society's rapid advancements and the associated increase in business opportunities, merchants realized that traditional business methods were fast becoming obsolete. Perhaps the greatest change was the unprecedented demand for banks just before the start of the Age of Exploration. This demand transformed the economy entirely. That marked the end of the old way of doing business. Small range, small scope, small margin businesses were on the way out. Faced with the changing world, the wealthy, in order to protect their profits, searched for ways to construct unions to mutually benefit one another. But these weren't like national unions. These organizations were closed off to the majority of society. Some of them kept their very existence a secret in order to protect their members and activities. These organizations later become known as secret societies. Naturally, there are non-economic secret societies too. For example, Italy's famous Silicon Mafia was originally a rebel organization that fought against oppression from the mainland. Moreover, the Knights Templar, a centerpiece of numerous conspiracy theories, is not an actual secret society. The belief that the Templars operate in secret to this day is largely due to France declaring members of their orders heretics. Outside of France, however, they operated in plain sight. Most notably in Portugal, where the king became a member of the Knights Templar, uniting the country as the organization as one. In other words, present-day Portugal is the Knights Templar. One can hardly call Portugal a secret society. Nah, Portugal's secret, man. No one's ever heard of it. Where can you point Portugal out to me on a map? No, exactly. Therefore, secret society. The Soviet Union, which collapsed before I was born, was originally a secret society. A society that sparked a revolution and turned itself into a nation.
He's
not wrong. I mean, we're not trying to keep it a secret, but you know. To be honest, his words shook me. I'd always thought secret societies were nothing but delusional fantasies thought up by conspiracy theorists and Shinibyo. But apparently, there are many secret societies influencing the governments of developing countries simply by voting. Of course, there are still many profit-seeking secret societies whose ambitions don't extend beyond wealth. Fair enough. But then what do we do? I don't want to be captured and forced to do experiments. They want a time machine. Farah-san's question is ripe with concern. In response to the corners of Yukitaka Ojisama's lips curl up. Yeah, let's fuck him up. At that point I finally understood. Yukitaka Ojisama was angry. He's already got like 5 SWAT teams after them. Hello? Yes, kill on sight, that's correct. As he answers the phone that rang abruptly, Yukitaka Ojisama dons a slight smile. Then he addresses us as he hangs up. Oh, I wonder who it will be. Captured! Okabe had said that the Rounders killed Mayuri. And we captured one of these relentless murderers? What kind of man is Yukitaka Ojisama? It feels like we're stepping outside of reality. Maybe all of this is a dream. No, I can't think like that. I need to stay rooted in real life. But at this point, I didn't care if it felt like I was living in a manga. To me, Yukitaka Ojisama's words seemed like the light at the end of the tunnel. I wonder who this rounder we've caught could be. According to Yukitaka Ojisama, this is what happened. While his manager buddy was in a bar thinking of a plan, a man bound in ropes suddenly appeared lying on the ground out front. This man showed signs of severe physical trauma and was trembling in fear. As they interrogated him, he started to talk openly about being a rounder. Oh, it's a man! Alright, it's not Moeka then. The one who brought the man to the bar was a woman with braided hair. According to the barkeeper, she took off on a bicycle without so much as a word after she dropped her captive off out front. Well, we know who that is. Good old Suzuha. The identity of this woman is unknown. Regardless, it's provided us with new information about the Rounders. Given that the woman offered him up like a present, it's possible that it may be a trap. However, the man revealed that the Rounders are divided into independent groups, completely unaware of the other Rounders' operations. The captured Rounder told us that someone named FB is in charge. FB doesn't give the Rounders orders directly, instead choosing to operate through their underlings. Their objective, originally, was to secure an old PC called the IBN 5100. As of yesterday, the man told us, a special Rounder task force from France had entered Japan. Their objective was to raid the Future Gadget Laboratory, securing the Time Leap machine and its developers. As for the captured Rounder, his division was told to spread across Akihabara to prevent said developers, namely, we lab members, from leaving the city. He also confirmed our fears. Myron has to have been captured by the Rounders and taken away, but the man doesn't know exactly where.
君たちの作ったタイムマシン、タイムリープマシンか。そちら別動隊が確保する予定だったそうだよ。
The special task face? Do you mean
た
force?
だ警備会社に知り合いがいてね。大檜山ビルは警備させている。それで様子を伺っていたのかもしれない。
I see. Which means coming up to Ferris's home was the right choice. Staying at the lab could have led to a confrontation with the Rounders coming to take the Time Leap machine. I shudder thinking about how the encounter would have ended.
マユシーとダルニャンは一体どこに連れて行かれたの？
Ferris was driven to tears by her father's story. It doesn't seem like she can just stand by knowing that her friends are in danger. But it seems like she had no idea what to do. If we can capture this Rounder named FB, I think out loud, knowing full well how difficult that would be. We don't have anywhere close to the amount of information we'd need. We don't even know if this FB is in Japan or not. If only Hashida were here. Yeah, Hashida could just go on the internet for 5 seconds and get all the information on him. I know I'm asking for the impossible, but I'm sure that Hashida's excellent hacking would be able to find us a loophole. Hacking isn't solely about remotely accessing a device of source of information. That's not a sentence. It's about seeing through the opponent's security or passwords and outwitting someone else to find a route in. In that sense, Hashida might have been able to come up with a unique approach for the mess of a situation we're in, one that would defy the Rounders' predictions. But he isn't here. It's ironic that we need Hashida's skills in order to find Hashida himself. His contributions to the Time Leap machine were immense. He was a necessary component of our lab, just in a different way than Okabe. I tried to brainstorm but can't come up with any good ideas. Yuki Takoroji-sama picks up the phone once more.
どうやら今の僕たちでは手に負えない事態のようだ。
In a way, he sounded a little defeated, but his expression was not that of someone who had given up.
パパ、どうするの？
ちょうどいい。ルミホにも改めて教えておこう。自分ではどうしようもないときは、誰か信頼できる人間に力を借りるのがビジネス。
But who do we trust is the question.
ちょうど僕がついさっき元締めに力を借りたようにね。人間はその個人だけで完結した存在じゃない。一人の人間の周りにはその人間を取り巻く人々がいて、社会があって歴史がある。その人間が過去から積み重ねてきた経験も、周囲にいる人々も、生まれ育った道を示してくれた教授がいて、正一がいて、ルミホがいて、この秋葉原の街があって、
Takoroji-sama continued to say that this is the same for CERN and the Committee of 300. No matter how powerful an entity each may be, they are not completely disconnected from the rest of the world. Of course in fucking London. Actually, that's Portsmouth. Oh shit! There are Rounders in Portsmouth? Oh fuck. Actually no, it's Portsmouth just to the right of that? Maybe we're safe. There might be more Southampton? I'm not sure. Oof, oh fuck. At least some of their numbers must have family members. They must have connections to their country, their land, or other human beings. Even America, for all its military might, cannot act unrestricted within the modern international society. Even the numerous dictatorships that existed throughout history have connections. However cruel a tyrant may have been, they were not always able to exert their will 100% of the time. And this is where their weakness lies. If the Committee of 300 is some kind of European organization, then that must mean there are also Indian and Middle Eastern secret societies. Japan, China and Russia also have their organizations and industries that can impact the international community. If those organizations can be led to mobilize in some way, even if we can't make CERN or the Committee of 300 abandon or change their plans, we might be able to restrict them into making adjustments.
もちろんその結果が僕たちの望む結果につながらない可能性はある。それでも何もできずにただ座っているよう
And
な
with that, Yukitaka Orisama started making calls. He's probably on calls like multiple like terrorist groups right now, but you know, terrorists versus terrorists, that would be a good film. He mostly conducted his business in English, but occasionally he would use languages I couldn't understand.
お嬢様、マキセ様。
Farah-san and I were just sitting and watching Yukitaka Orisama place his phone calls in a daze, but Kuroki-san's words snapped us out of our reverie.
こうしていても体力を無駄にするばかりです。今のうちに少しでもお休み。
Sleep time. But I can understand Kuroki-san's perspective. If Yukitaka Orisama intends to rely on his connections to take action, there really isn't much the two of us can do. However, given the situation at hand, I just didn't feel like resting.
クーニャン、黒木の言う通りだよ。少し休んで。
Okay, Ferris says as she pulls at my arm. But
クーニャン、分かってる？今自分がどれだけひどい顔色してる。
well, that's just rude, saying I look like Kiyoma. Huh?
休まないと。
Pale? I didn't realize it myself, but I must look pretty tired for Farah-san to bring it up. Now that she mentions it, I guess I did stay up all night. I didn't even have dinner. To top it off, there's the summer heat to deal with, coupled by the dire situation. That's a recipe for fatigue.
今日も山よし、ダルニャンが大変な状況なのに、クーニャンにまで何かあったらどうしようもないよ。今日も助ける。
I know I am
クー
amazing.
ニャンは元気でいないとダメ。
Hearing it out loud, I finally realized how irrational I'm being. Farah-san is absolutely right. I can't do anything for Okabe or Mayuri if I'm collapsed. Reluctance, uncertainty, and hesitancy fill my heart, but I'm a researcher who values reason above all else, so I should act accordingly. Understood. Ferris, Kuroki-san. Thank you both. I think I will take a rest.
岡部様のお隣に寝室を用意してあります。
Next to Okabe's? Did I consent to that?
何かあったらすぐに知らせるから安心して。
Please. After I thank her, I follow Kuroki-san to my bedroom and... Kunya? Well, that's a strange new nickname. I couldn't sleep. Even though my body and soul are completely exhausted, my mind is still wide awake, and I can't fall asleep no matter what I do. Tossing and turning in bed, I try all sorts of relaxation and breathing techniques to guide myself to sleep. Nothing works. Mayuri, Hashida, Okabe. Staying still only invited unpleasant thoughts. My imagination runs wild with worst case scenarios, each one making my body stiffen. I keep trying to shake the thoughts out of my head. I sigh helplessly. All I want to do is help my friends, but I don't have the ability to actually do that. For now, I need to place my hope in Yukitaka Orisama and make sure I'm rested up when we have some leads to follow. And I understand that I shouldn't understand it at least, but it doesn't help. Not at all. I'm face to face with my own helplessness, my lack of experience.
自分ではどうしようもないときは誰か信頼できる人間に力を借りるのがビジネスの鉄則だ。
You should call Maho. You can trust Maho. Yukitaka Orisama's words from earlier echo in my head. These words were meant to explain our next steps to us, but also to give us a fair warning. There's always the possibility that we can screw up and make things more complicated if our impatience got the best of us and we stormed out just to be captured by lingering rounders. All of Yukitaka Orisama's planning would go down the drain. There's really nothing we can do. Our only option is to rely on Yukitaka Oji-sama, and the best way to help him is to stay put. This is how it should be, but in the end, I can't do anything. I'm embarrassed by my own immaturity. I'm wishing for power I haven't earned like a child. People should strive to achieve whatever they can within the range of their abilities and experiences. By running society in this way, each individual will be able to find their niche. If everybody had equal limitless power, human individuality would be meaningless. I lived in America, where different cultures are accepted and celebrated. I know how dull a world without difference would be. But at the same time, it's also true that I have matured enough to simply accept my place in a rigid society. My professors are an upperclassman would probably say that my immaturity is part of my personality, and that there are things that only immature people can do. As I vocalized my thoughts, I realized something. Professors and upperclassmen. Once again, Yukitaka Oji-sama's words echo in my mind. Cool Maho! Cool Maho!
人間はその個人だけで完結した存在じゃない。一人のその人間が過去から積み重ねてきた経験も、周囲にいる人々も道を示してくれた教授がいて、正一がいて、ルミホがいて。
Cool Maho! I want Maho in the story. We don't get enough Maho content in these spin-off games. I sit bolt upright in bed. Yeah, that's it! Just as Yukitaka Oji-sama had his connections, I have my own. While I may come from a different background and age group than Yukitaka Oji-sama, I am not alone. Papa and Mama, Ferra-san, Yukitaka Oji-sama, Kuroki-san. My professors and upperclassmen at Victochondria, Okabe, Hashida, Mayuri. There are many people around me, and if Yukitaka Oji-sama can reach out to people for help, I can too. Please call Maho. Please call Maho. It's just after 11 p.m. now, meaning it's morning in America. Please, please. I quickly made a list of people I could ask for help given the time of day. I could only come up with 1 or 2 people though. The professor and Maho, surely. But then I realized something. Today is the professor's lecture meeting. My timing couldn't be worse. One of my former teachers at Victochondria's Neuroscience Institute is presenting his research results to professors from other universities today. That alone is going to make him extremely unlikely to be answering phone calls or checking emails. Well, that just leaves one person, doesn't it? What's worse, I couldn't even get a hold of my upperclassmen, who normally pick up in no time. I have no other personal contacts at Victochondria. What the hell? Why now of all times? Maho, for fuck's sake, pick up the phone! And then I remember something that Okabe said. No! Why is it the will of the world that I can't speak to Maho? I want Maho and Kurisu interaction. Where is it? Where is it? Will of the world? Time paradoxes? Is it possible that I'm also under the influence of this so-called will of the world? Okabe said that even if the Rounders did not directly attack, Mayuri will, for some reason or another, die. No matter how many times he repeated the day, no matter how many things he tried, it was imminent. The will of the world, natural providence, Okabe told me he felt something that could only be described as fate. Is this the same force that keeps me from reaching anyone for help, no matter how hard I try? Is this the will of the world, as Okabe called it, hindering my actions? No, it can't be. I refuse to accept the idea that we live in a predetermined world. The idea that our fates are set is too absurd to believe, meaning that something's behind this phenomenon, and if so, we can find out what it is and resolve it, to escape this hellish situation. The problem is, how can we identify the cause? And when we do, how can we remedy it? Is it even possible for me to solve this on my own? I tightly gripped the cell phone that I used to place my calls. Try as I might, I couldn't come up with a good idea. No sooner had I caught a glimpse of hope, than it faded away. Do I have, like, outbox messages now? No, I don't. I was really hoping I'd have outbox messages, but oh well. If this were mere research, I could simply walk away knowing that discovery is a slow process, but not this time. What can I do? Call Maho! I half opened my cell phone absent-mindedly. and see a certain word in the contacts list. Papa. Well, don't call that motherfucker. I tried contacting him a few days ago, but he refused to talk to me. But right now, I need anyone's help. And if that person is Papa, then all the better. I entered his phone number and pressed call. But no answer. Of course, nobody would pick up at this hour, or it might be because it's me. Papa does not like me. No, he may as well hate me. There's no way he would answer the phone for the likes of me. Well, speaking of the phone, I want to see my contacts list. Open. It does not allow me to open my address book. Well, fuck you too. If I close my cell phone and unconsciously pull myself upright. I then proceed to exit the guest bedroom and gently open the door of the room next door. Don't watch Okabe sleep. This room is also as dark as the one previous, but from the sound of his breath alone, I knew who was in there. Look at this motherfucker. His fucking beard. Okabe. Okabe. I'm sorry. What should I do? Okabe is so worn out. He's suffered so much for so long. I want to save him, but I don't know how. I don't know what to do for the person I love. I'm completely at a loss. Some genius I turned out to be. I'm confident that I've been working my hardest the whole time. I've done everything I can, and have even produced results. But at this moment, none of that has any meaning. I can't make Papa happy, I can't save my friends. I'm useless to the one I love. I gently touch Okabe's cheek. It feels like he's lost weight somehow. He might have burned an extreme amount of calories working his brain at such high capacity after receiving his future memories. Or maybe it's because after dashing out of the lab he ran all around Akihabara in desperation. Either way, it's a painful sight. I'm sorry. I'm so powerless. There's nothing I can do. I notice tears falling from my eyes. They land on my hand and drip down, wetting my fingertips on Okabe's cheek. No, I can't cry. I'm not. Okabe's the one suffering the most. I can't cry here. That's right, the one who is in the most pain, who has suffered the most heartbreak, is the one who has witnessed Mayuri's death over and over again. Okabe. But that means... An image emerges from the back of my mind. The time leap machine. The time machine built under Okabe's direction. Right now, I can't think of a way to save Hashida and Mayuri. But what if I change the past? What if I use the time leap machine to get us out of this situation? No. I do not fully understand what rules and logic are involved with travelling through time and changing the past. So far, through our D-mail experiments, we've learned that modifying the past events can significantly change the world. However, most of us cannot perceive these changes. All of this information comes from Okabe, the only person with his reading Steiner ability. If he were lying about this or simply deluded, this hypothesis would collapse immediately. That said, the reason we've come this far is because I believed in his abilities and claims. They're the basis of the time leap machine after all. Even then, changes in time are very subjective and vague, and only Okabe is capable of observing them. In other words, even if I were to change the past, only Okabe would notice. If I changed the past, my memories would be erased the moment the world changed. And if they were, if Mayuri's life were put in danger again, I would not have the knowledge to keep her from dying. Given that she's already died over and over, it seems especially risky. The bottom line is, under the current circumstances, changing the past doesn't make sense without Okabe's involvement. Without the reading Steiner, changing the past is essentially meaningless. Only Okabe can do this, which would mean the burden is entirely on him. Koki! Hello! You did scare me. I'm absolutely terrified now. How could you do such a thing to me? Although whilst you did scare me, it didn't last long, because it was only you. And Koki is safe. You can't be scared of little old Koki. It'd be too much for Okabe to take. I have to think of an alternative. How are you doing, Koki? How's your day? I hope it's not too early for you, because it's about 10:30 for me in the morning. I don't know what time zone you're on, but if you're in America, it's probably quite early for you. Or are you in Germany? If you're in Germany, it's probably only, what, 8 o'clock maybe? After muttering that to myself, I realized that the frustration I had been feeling just a minute ago has been somewhat alleviated. I still feel a little impatient, but it isn't clouding my thoughts anymore. Maybe seeing your face helped, Okabe. I tried to joke, but there's a ring of truth to my statement. Suddenly, exhaustion and sleepiness comes crashing down on me. I should go back to my room, or get some sleep, then come up with an idea to fix all this. I quietly move away from Okabe so as to not wake him, then return to my own bedroom next door. 11:20. There you go. It's not too early for you then. Well, I mean, it depends when you went to bed, I guess. The next morning, after waking from a good night's sleep, I lightly freshen up my appearance and head to the living room. There I see the exhausted Yukitaka Roji-sama, who looks to have stayed up all night making phone calls, and Kuroki-san, who stood by his side in support. The news is on the big screen TV, perhaps to divide them with alternate sources of information. Good morning, how are things going? Oof. It seems that Yukitaka Roji-sama has infiltrated the Rounders organization through negotiation and compromise. He has been able to learn the location of several lower level members, as well as a few agents that pass orders along to them. In some cases he's even able to capture them, but he's yet to obtain any information regarding FB or Mayuri and Hashish's whereabouts. Well, that is a shame. It's your stream anniversary today? Well, for my stream anniversary, I played Mario games for 24 hours, and let me tell you, that was a mistake. As soon as I finished, I became immediately ill, so that's at least something that I advise you don't do. I just say you do something really fun or nostalgic on stream. That would be my advice. Try something extra fun, or just something that will be recognized as nostalgic. Classic stream. Classic Koki. In front of Yukitaka Roji-sama lay several documents and maps with numerous red markings on them. A quick look revealed that these were not only maps of Japan, but of the Far East, Southeast Asia, America and Europe. There were large-scale maps as well as more detailed ones. You tried to do a 12-hour stream and only survived 9 hours? Yeah, streaming for a long time is difficult. Several points have been marked as predicted locations, some of which it seemed had already been investigated. But they're keeping quiet, I imagine. According to Yukitaka Roji-sama, the fact that they hadn't done either indicates how high priority their mission is. Sometimes when prioritizing a single objective, an organization will consider all related losses necessary to its success. Yukitaka Roji-sama said that the Rounders' response, or lack thereof, to its actions was aligned with this strategy. For CERN, the Rounders' governing body, and the Committee of 300 who controls them, gaining sole control of the time machine must be an uncompromisable goal. If one can control time, they can manipulate the past to redo any and all operations until their success is ensured. For them, nothing is impossible. As I said before, this is the power of a god. Who in their right mind would simply hand it over to someone else? Talking about your beautiful space table 24 hours? I mean, if that's classic Koki, that's classic Koki. I'm sure it would be enjoyable, whatever you choose to do. If they wish to establish themselves as rulers of the world, their stance is a matter of course. I can't English. The problem is that puts the rest of the world at major disadvantage. Unsurprisingly, Yukitaka Oji-sama is no longer calm and collected. Are you okay? Fair enough. Although he said this, the expression told me that he hadn't ruled the idea out. I want to see this man's army take on the 300. Oh, Ferris is up. Ferris-san made her way into the living room and seemed to grasp what was going on just by looking at Yukitaka Oji-sama. Sitting beside Yukitaka Oji-sama, she leans towards him and embraces his arm. Yeah, in this timeline. Wait till Okabe gets a hold of the D-mails again. You'll disappear. Ferris-san looked conflicted. She's so worried about Mayuri, Hashira, and Okabe that she can hardly stand it, but she's also worried about her father working himself to the bone to save them. Perhaps Yukitaka Oji-sama is the type to push himself, whether fighting for his daughter's friends or for his beloved town of Akihabara. There are certain things he can't back down from. So it seems Ferris is worried that he'll push himself beyond his limits. But at the same time, maybe we can't save Mayuri and Hashira without Yukitaka Oji-sama doing that. I imagine this is quite the dilemma for her. Said Yukitaka Oji-sama as he caressed Ferris-san's face. Then as he reached for the phone to contact another negotiator, a piece of the news appeared on the flat-screen TV. Oh, that's going to be Mayuri dead, I imagine. Yeah, young woman dead. That is unfortunate. But also not unexpected. Why did they just dump her in the ocean? Just use her for testing again. The TV shows footage of Tokyo Bay. As the footage continues, a box-shaped van is pulled out of the water by a crane. This is also going to be the exact moment that Okabe walks into the room as well. The crane slowly moves the van towards land and places it on a blue tarp. For some reason this makes me incredibly uneasy. I don't like it. My nerves being hypersensitive, unpleasant thoughts rush through the back of my mind. They're thoughts I don't want to think, but I can't help it. You need to think of something? Well, good luck. I believe in you, Koki. You will make the best anniversary stream that there ever was. I'm sure of it. Oh, that... Yeah, I could never recognize that hat. I can identify it for you. The inorganic and motionless voice of the newscaster resonates from the TV, and then some of the items left in the car were displayed on the screen. Yeah, I mean... Ferris-san stands up without a word. Oh man, Ferris and Mayuri are like best friends too. Her eyes open wide as she witnesses something unimaginable. A throbbing sound pulses loudly in my ear. No way. No way. On the screen were a recognizable hat and green cell phone, both of which once belonged to someone we knew very well. Yeah, I mean, that would definitely work. What noises have you got on your soundboard? I'm afraid it is real. Ferris-san shakes her head like a child would. I don't want to accept this. I can't. This is something I should have been prepared for, after what Okabe told me. I should have predicted this. But neither of us were able to accept it. There was no way we could. Ferris-san and I were both so stunned that we couldn't take our eyes off the screen. That's why we didn't realise. Fuck, no! No! You can't... You should have locked his door. You shouldn't have let him out. Oh, God. We're gonna have psycho mode on us now. That he had woken up and had entered the living room. Ah, shit. No, do you see? Look, it says woman alive, definitely. That word says alive and not dead. Okabe! I turned around to face the voice behind me. There was Okabe, whiter than a piece of paper. Ah, shit. Calm down, please. Please stop screaming. Holding his head in his hands, he dropped to his knees as if to repent. Hearing him scream as if his spirit had been torn to 1,000 pieces, I understood for the first time humanity's ability to vocalize such grief. But at the same time, his lament made me accept the undisputable reality of our friend's death. Okabe's scream was evidence that Mayuri really was dead. Up to this point, I'd been deluding myself into thinking that those items they found in the corpse were all fake. That way I'd be able to say that I couldn't accept Mayuri's death until I saw it with my own eyes. But I was just lying to myself, pathetically trying to obscure the truth, the opposite of what a scientist should do. That's right. I understood the moment I saw the hat and cell phone on the screen. That our precious ally, our friend, was gone from this world. That I would never see her again. But I couldn't accept that. Not like this. That's why I tried to say it was fake, to separate it from reality, to fool myself. But that's nothing more than shallow folly. The reality is before my eyes. The truth stands before me. I know that. I understand. I accept it. She's gone. Mayuri's gone. Calm down, Okabe. At the same time, I can't allow myself to be lost in grief. Both because the scientist inside me still wants to maintain control of the situation at hand, and because I'm still in the presence of someone in a much deeper state of grief. Okabe! Beating his head with his fists and crying, Okabe continues to wail. I grab his hands, hoping to get him to stop hitting himself, but he quickly breaks out of my grasp. Calm down, please. Because it does. I don't know the answer to that. He screams into the void, cursing the rounders and CERN. His screams held such pain, it felt as though they could tear apart the heart of whoever heard them. But no matter how much pain his listeners felt, his pain was worse. Stop, Okabe! If this keeps up, you're going to destroy yourself! I couldn't take it. I hated seeing the person I love reduced to this. Seeing the person I love in such pain. Is there something I can do for him? Anything? Why can't I help alleviate his pain? Helplessness and despair consumes my heart. These are not my own feelings, they're Okabe's. His voice alone filled me with his agony and grief. Farah-san and I couldn't do anything for Okabe but embrace him. It was all we had left in us. Alright, Kuroki. We can believe in Kuroki. He's the smart one. Kuroki-san extends his hand. Suddenly, Okabe slumps to the ground unconscious. Just he did just say, "Come on, stop hitting him! Like this poor fella's gone through enough. Please stop hitting him, man." Poor Okabe. Bro, poor Okabe. That's like the 5th time he's been knocked out. He doesn't deserve this. Loud sounds, air horn, wake up, honk and things. Fair enough, the loud ones are the best ones when you scare the crap out of a streamer. I think I've got one jump scare sound alert somewhere deep in the ether. It's also sad. We simply hold on to Okabe in silence, shaking our heads. Kuroki-san seems apologetic, but he provided Okabe with more peace than we could. We have no right to object. This is how useless we are. Our combined experiences, my genius status. I mean, by the time Okabe's, got him through his grief, he's gonna have massive brain trauma. None of that means anything right now. Just as Okabe laments being unable to save Mayuri, I'm unable to save Okabe. I can't even start to... That is a word that I do not know how to pronounce. I don't know how to do that to his pain. If only I had Okabe's reading Steiner ability, I could use the time leap machine to change places with him. But even that is nothing but a wish. Okabe. 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 I hold on to him, muttering his name over and over, as he'd done with Mayuri only moments before. I can sense Yukitaka Ojisama and Kuroki-san's concerned eyes on me. This is all I can bring myself to do. My father calls! My cell phone rings and snaps me out of it. Papa! I open my cell phone automatically and press the pick up button. Oh shit! I just answered the phone to... Papa! Ah shit, this motherfucker. It's Bradley. Why am I streaming early? Because I woke up early. Please! Papa! Okabe! He needs help! Okabe! Okabe! Papa! Rose just picked up his phone and his daughter started rambling nonsense and crying at him. Help me! Please, I can't. Okabe, I can't save the person I love! Feeling useless and awash with despair, I break down, sobbing and crying the moment I hear Papa's voice. Well, I'm sure he's gonna give me loads of support and advice because he's such a good father. I'm sure he cares so much that I'm in tears right now. Not because of the trauma, trepidation and fear I associate with him, but because I heard the voice of the one who loved me and watched over me as a child. Yeah, loved you, past tense. And Papa, taken aback by my tears, seems like he couldn't even begin to get mad or scold me. Though it was only much later that I realised this. I don't remember most of our conversation, but I was probably babbling incoherently. Yeah, voice only, this is the olden days, before video chat was really a thing. The overwhelming stress, the years of friction between Papa and me, and the helplessness of being unable to save Okabe drove me to close the infantile regression. I'd let my emotions run wild, something I would normally try to avoid in front of Papa of all people. What I do remember is that I repeated Okabe's name and help over and over. Neither my dignity as a scientist, nor my appearance and manners as a member of society remained intact. I was simply overflowing with raw emotion. It's a wonder I was able to communicate anything at all. But during this time I was amazed that Papa was actually patiently listening to me, and not calling me a bitch that he wished was dead. Maybe my unusual behaviour convinced him that something was really wrong. He may have tried to interject at one point or another, but if I did, I didn't hear. He certainly didn't hang up on me, at least. He's probably thinking, what the fuck? By the time I began to come to my senses, I had been venting my emotions at Dad for more than 20 minutes. At that point, I was just sobbing. Papa, please. He has no fucking clue what to say. Yeah, thanks for all the help, Dad. My heart grows cold, as if it stabbed me with a sword of ice. Time seemed to stand still. I forget how to breathe for a moment, and my lungs struggle for oxygen. Oh shit. Oh, these two talking again. Let's see how that goes. As I struggled to wrap my mind around my father's response, Yukitaka Ojisama took my phone from my hand. Yeah, it's been a while. Last time we talked to each other, I cut you off. I took all of your funding away. Whoops, silly me. Still stunned, I watched Yukitaka Ojisama talk to my papa. Between Papa's cold words and my worry over Okabe, I didn't have it in me to do anything else. Whoa, close up. Keep your distance. Farah-san comes over to me and gives me a hug. And because I still haven't regained my cool, I hung onto her. Farah-san, I...
今はパパに任せた方がいいよ。今日は黒木に
Taking care means he's fucking smacking him in the head again. Huh? At Farah-san's words, I look around the room and realize that Okabe had disappeared. Apparently, Kuroki-san had taken him back to his room from the night before.
今の京馬にはこれ以上は辛す
Yeah, you're not wrong. Huh? It was as if I had half reverted to a child. Okabe's reaction earlier had done something to me. I could hardly bear to witness it. Something in Okabe's mind must have snapped, worn out by the horrors he had witnessed. To cope with trauma like this, people often become numb and nihilistic, or mentally destroy themselves in their grief. Now in either case, the outcome is the same. They lose who they once were. Okabe was simply experiencing the latter. The weight of his grief has even deeply impacted me, and I'm only feeling his suffering by proxy. I never thought anything other than my father could make me give in to my emotions like this. But what I'm going through speaks volumes about the tragedy that Okabe has experienced.
ねえクーニャ
Uh-huh. Farah, seeing that I've calmed down a little, speaks to me, still holding me tight.
昨日京馬が言ってたね。何回もマユシーが死ぬのを見たって。マユシーが死んじゃうのを止めるために
Uh-huh. Farah gently caresses my head and keeps quietly talking to me, patting my back from time to time.
じゃあ同じように時間を遡ったら
I mean, we could. We don't have reading Steiner.
助かるよね
I mean, not that that's necessary really for time leaping, because we saw that Nai fucking did it, little bitch. Bringing a friend back to life? If there were a way to do so, people would reach for it, no matter the cost. Making a time machine the forbidden fruit. As a scientist, I understand the weight of what she's asking. But even so, there was only one way I could answer.
助かるわ
We'll save her.
マユリは
We will save Mayuri.
必ず助か
I'll make sure of that. Perhaps this is how Okabe felt when he witnessed Mayuri's death. My logic and ethics are pushed aside by the dangerous allure of the time machine. Even if I have to risk everything, if there is a way to save Mayuri, I will find it. No matter how grave a sin it may be, no matter how it defies the laws of nature, if there is a means to an end, humanity will take advantage. Even if I had to give up my principles, if I can save Mayuri, to hell with them. If I can spare Okabe's pain, to hell with them. I'll bear the weight of my sins, I'll accept any punishment, an acceptable price to give her life back. Knowing full well that this defies the natural order,
クリスちゃん
Yukitaka Ojisama addresses me, still with his cell phone in hand. He's still on the phone.
翔一と話すといい手伝うと言わせたよ
Oh, what's he gonna help with? Huh? Lies. Papa? Help? What does that even mean? Papa's never fucking helped me, the useless bastard. Seeing my numb response to his unbelievable words, Yukitaka Ojisama places the phone on the table. Then he proceeds to turn on the phone's speaker function so that everyone could hear.
じゃあ頼むよ
お前はいつもそうだ。人の話を聞いてるのやら
the Ferris's dad has the riz, man.
言っただろそれもビジネスのテクニックのうちだよさあ始めてくれ
Grr. He growled at me. While I haven't fully grasped the situation, Yukitaka Ojisama and Dad are exchanging words. This is the first time I've ever heard Papa's voice free from anger or scorn in a long time. He spoke to me! He said my name! Papa? Hearing him say my name so suddenly surprises me, almost making me break out in a cold sweat. What I managed to say barely qualifies as a response.
北川から話は聞いたがよくわからんことばかりだ。だがとりあえ
This is like the most Nakabachi like content we've ever fucking gotten. He falls silent for a while. It seemed he was having trouble finding his words. It's not surprising. Even I had trouble accepting the phone wave when I first saw it. Between my crying and Yuki Takaroji-sama's persuasion, he does seem to realize that we're not kidding, but I imagine he's finding it difficult to sort everything out in his head. I'm surprised he didn't just rage. It makes you think of that emote? Well, this papa ain't quite a cuddly fella. He's a grumpy old bastard. I can't lie. He's not a nice fella. I did? Yeah, we built it together, but it doesn't really look... Of course this is what he fucking cares about. No. We really shouldn't talk about the time machine. We'll just make him angry. Papa interrupts my story to start interrogating me. Yeah, of fucking course he does. Though I couldn't tell if he actually wanted me to answer the question or if he was just thinking out loud. I mean, I'd hope he's not like your father, because this guy is a real nasty fella. This guy's absolutely, he's horrible. He, in another reality, he murders me. So he's really not a nice fella. That's a regular occurrence for scientists, but it was remarkably frustrating in light of what was going on around us. Yeah, you are gonna fucking sidetrack, you little prick. Yuki Takaroji-sama apparently felt the same way as I did and rebukes my father. Maybe he put me on speaker so he could support me this way. It doesn't matter how it works though, not right now. He was clearly unsatisfied, but didn't seem unhappy. Perhaps he's taking this more seriously than I expected. Right. Although I'm still processing what's going on. Right now, I certainly felt like our shattered father-daughter relationship was beginning to mend. I wouldn't hope too hard. That's right. I'm not entirely sure how we did so, though. I spent about an hour telling Papa about the time leap machine. I was surprised to find that after my explanation, he was able to accurately identify the time leap machine's capabilities and limitations. As we spoke, we faxed documents to each other, some of which included information that I had overlooked, so this hour was full of surprises. This is the same sort of feeling I get while I'm discussing things with Okabe. Given our understanding of the time leap machine and considering Sun's moves, the conclusion we reached was fairly straightforward. Has he given me the information to make a 2-week leap? We figure that out at some point. $75% that? Well, that's not too bad then. Cause you definitely don't want your dad to be this motherfucker. Go back and send an email? That's an interesting combination. Wait, Papa, that's impossible. I considered that plan once before. How well does the time leap machine work? How can D-mail allow us to improve our situation? Both of these questions face a single roadblock. How will what we do change the past? To my knowledge, I have not yet directly experienced a changed past phenomenon. We can only go by Okabe's reports of his experiences. Needless to say, if the past changes, our memories, knowledge, and experience will change with it. To observe that the past has changed, one must retain the memories of the pre-changed past, otherwise there's no way to confirm it. That's why only Okabe, whose reading Steiner ability can retain memories of the pre-changed past, can notice the phenomenon occur. Honestly, I've found the concept hard to believe since I first heard it. In fact, my belief is entirely predicated on my trust in Okabe. You play a lot of 30 minutes game on your DS to know what changing the past does. Fair. That said, we have accumulated a number of pieces of evidence pertaining to changed past phenomena over the course of our D-mail experiments. But we have none for the time leap machine. Based on what Okabe told us, it seems as though the time leap machine hasn't resulted in any changed past phenomena. Despite Okabe's scant, vague testimony, Papa and I reached a hypothesis that changed past phenomena do not result through the use of the time leap machine. We think the time leap machine only allows one to send themselves back through time, not to change said past. But we can't say for certain. For example, Okabe currently is saying that changed past phenomena do not occur as a result of the time leap machine. But what if that's only because he didn't take any action that would trigger such phenomena? Much like when we began our D-mail experiments, we do not clearly understand what sort of trigger causes the changed past phenomena to occur. And given the delicacy of the situation, we cannot afford to take uncertain measures. In other words, just as Papa said, Okabe is the only person who can solve this. The only one who can interfere with time and actually be aware of the changes he makes. But we can't let him do so in his current state. Okabe is so worn out that he can't take anymore. I thought I explained that, but... Alright, you make a fair point, sir. Well... I don't need Dad to tell me this. It's obvious to any self-respecting scientist. What's impossible today will become possible tomorrow. My professor at my old lab often quoted, "Whoever the fuck that is." I'm not pronouncing that. Holy Lord. But be that as it may, the impossible is impossible. While there is value in overcoming the things people claim to be impossible, but optimism doesn't let people breathe underwater without the appropriate apparatus, or travel to space using a cannon. Saying things like that are possible is nothing more than junk science. As I was fumbled for a response, Yukitaka Ojisama interjected. Huh? What is he saying? Completely lost as to what my father is getting at, my face goes blank. I understand this Okabe kid's fucking useless. We have to make him usable again. That just sounds wrong on so many levels. Papa's comment is logical and coherent. If one ignores... If one ignores the sheer impossibility of the idea, that is. That's impossible. In order to do that, we'd have to convince him that Mayuri really can be saved. The reason that Okabe had lost all hope and had become so broken is because he thought Mayuri's fate was inescapable. That no matter what he does, or how many times he tries, Mayuri cannot be saved. Conversely, if we could prove that Mayuri can be saved, Okabe may recover. But I don't see how that's possible. I just can't think of a way to save Mayuri. Nobody in the world could. Huh? What do you mean? Are you saying you know how to save her? Oh, yawn. Farah-san, Yukitaka Ojisama and I are all puzzled by Papa's remarks. So what are you saying that I should do, old man? I'm blinded? By observation? Papa explains, why can't we find a clue to saving Mayuri? Because we have a severe lack of information. Why is that exactly? Because not only do we have one source of information, but obtaining clear information from that source is very difficult. In other words, we have not been able to extract sufficient information from Okabe, the person with the clearest grasp of the situation, and is the only one who has observed it in detail. At the end of the day, neither Ferris nor I have been able to talk normally to Okabe, making us unable to obtain information we could have obtained had he been in a calmer state. There's no contesting that, but Okabe had already been exhausted because of the Rounders' raid by the time we were able to speak with him. Mayuri and Hashira have been kidnapped and taken somewhere out of our reach. My voice acting moments, you should hear when because usually in this game I voice this Okabe character, and I do hella voice acting for that. But unfortunately, we're from Kurisu's perspective right now, and she's not got as many crazy lines as Okabe. She's a bit calmer. Mayuri and Hashira have been kidnapped and taken somewhere out of our reach. I understand what you're saying, Dad, but that's just an armchair theory. We can't get any more information from Okabe. There isn't anyone who could. There is. Papa speaks confidently, the way he used to. I haven't heard him sound like that since he answered every question I asked him on my birthday 7 years ago. I thought it'd been 11 years since you cut ties with your father. There is? Who? Who are you talking about, Papa? Do you know them? Tell me! Dun 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 dun! They're in the past. Past, Kurisu. Well, I feel like a lot of pressure's being put on me right now. The past? Me? The past, before Mayuri had been kidnapped, before we encountered the Rounders. Perhaps the me that exists at that point would be able to ask Okabe about the future, and find a clue to saving everyone from there. At least according to Papa. I see. We can use the past to gather more information. I'm a trigger. Papa's idea is for me to leap into the past and tell Okabe to rely on the past me. No matter how you look at it, we don't have enough information. Wait, is this? This is because then she says that in the main story. That's a line that she says. Are we saying that she time leaped? That's a time leaped Kurisu. Lore drop. No matter how you look at it, we don't have enough information. We've had a lore drop. That's crazy, and we can't currently extract any from Okabe. Right now, what we need are information and time. And even after I leap to the past, you'll probably only gain an hour or two at best. I scared you? Sorry, I got a bit overexcited. I like the lore of this game, and we got a tiny bit of a lore drop, and it excited me. Unfortunately, if I try to leap to a time before Okabe tried to break the time leap machine, it may take me a while to figure out what's going on. And if I try to time leap repeatedly to make up for that lost time, there's a possibility that I may inadvertently trigger a changed past phenomenon. If that happened, I wouldn't know whether the past changed or not because I lack the reading Steiner ability. That would render our entire plan meaningless. Just because we don't believe the time leap machine causes changed past phenomena, doesn't give us free rein to make time our plaything. Directly helping Okabe and taking steps to find a clue to solving our problem is a risky, temporarily dangerous proposition. Somehow I have to convince Okabe to leap back to a more manageable time and have him tell me of that time period everything he knows. If the Okabe of a better time can provide me all the information he has, that me will be able to serve as Okabe's guide. In short, there's only one thing we can do. Convince Okabe to go and change the past. And in the process, get him to stand back up. That's it. Alrighty. Guess that's what we're doing then.
その情報があれば過去のクリスちゃんなら解決の糸口を見つけ
It sounds cruel to say, but in our current timeline it makes perfect sense that Okabe ended up giving up on Mayuri. I don't blame him, but knowing Okabe, if his past self finds out about what happened in this timeline, he will shut down. If that happens, we'll fail all over again. But even if that does happen, I can't blame him. The shock would be overwhelming for anybody. That's why we must eliminate all possibilities that may lead to this. She's not going to tell him that she time-lapsed, and that's why we don't know. Who knew that Nakabachi actually helped at some point? I mean, he's still a prick and I hate him, but he did actually help at some point in one world line. That's crazy. It's crazy that this man, who in different world lines stabs each of us, is helping us both in this one. That's crazy. Only I can do this. Standing here. August 13th, 2010, Akihabara, in this place where I work with Okabe as lab member 004. Yes. Yes. Got it. Yeah, that's gonna be a thing. We're gonna get myself to believe, and that's why we mentioned the spoon. That's right, even if I was able to invigorate Okabe, if he can't receive the support from past me, this will all be for naught. Don't worry, I've got an idea. I run simulations in my head. The spoons! If he were to tell me about the current situation without the despair he exhibited earlier, I wouldn't believe him. There's no question. I would probably laugh it off with a cool story, Otsu. I wouldn't give it a second thought. Frankly, it sounds like convincing myself is the biggest problem of all. I know myself. Of course I can't do it, but if I were to go back and tell myself the same story, I still wouldn't believe it. It has to be Okabe. But how can I make my past self believe Okabe's words? I was what are you saying? I don't have any fucking birthmarks. How dare you, Ferris? Nothing like that. Besides, if Okabe told me my most closely guarded secret, there's 100% chance that I'd beat him up. I'd make him sit in the corner for an hour again. I'd torture him again. If someone that I liked asked, "You like me, don't you?" I can't imagine I'd take it very well. Ah! I did. The spoons. A light bulb flicks on in my head. I do have a secret. One that I rarely tell people. I gaze into the cell phone on the table as if to look at my papa on the other side. Yeah, I think so. I'd probably believe Okabe if he mentioned it. There is one secret in particular. One that leads to a soft spot in my heart, the most sensitive part of me. It's what I desire the most. A fork. I want a fork! You don't understand, Ferris. The fork! I want it so badly! Give me the fork! When I was a kid, I wanted it more than anything else. I begged Papa for it on my birthday. My personal fork. Since then, that fork became something that touched my heart. A symbol of Papa's love for me when I was little. A symbol of love that I could have received had our relationship not shattered on my birthday 7 years ago. She wants a personalised fork. She wants a fork with her name inscribed in it in beautiful gold letters. An object inexorable from my childhood heart. That is my personal fork. What I want the most right now is my personal fork. If Okabe says that, my past self will probably believe him. Her dad's like, for fuck's sake. Papa is silent. Maybe he knows what I'm talking about, but he won't say a thing. That's just how it is. I guess you can write a name on it, yeah. But can you pay the shipping cost to Japan? That's the thing. Then Yukitaka Oji-sama opens his mouth. That? What does that mean?
君が僕のところに置いてったクリスちゃんへのプレゼントのことだろ。
Oh shit! I have a personalized fork, and I'm never gonna get it! I'm never gonna get it! Because I'm gonna change the past! No! Wait a minute. Yeah, the taxes. You didn't think about the taxes. What is he saying? Oh no! I have to sacrifice my personalized fork to save my Uri. Oh man, you know, I'm fine with sacrificing my life, but not the personal fork, man. Dad and Yukitaka Ojisama continued to argue over the phone. While I tried to follow the unfurling drama, Kuroki-san brought out a small, slightly crushed box. Though the colours were faded, the box was beautifully wrapped.
こちらです。
I can't take the fork with me through time. I wish I could, but I can't. The fork will still be here, but I won't remember that the fork exists. I take the box from Kuroki-san and start to unwrap it. Well, I got my 7th birthday present a bit late, but there you go. As I thought, inside the box was a fork with an adorable design. Oh whoa, this art is insane. Bro, she's tearing up over a fork. I remember. It's the one that I begged Papa for. Something I've wanted for a long, long time. Something I've yearned for in my heart for a long, long time. And it's finally here. Papa. I thought I would never have it. My personal fork always needed to be a present from Papa. But here it is now. It came to me 7 years later. Papa, thank you. He's like, for fuck's sake. That's a lot. That's a long silence from Papa there. Fuck you, Nakabachi. Sure, I have my fork, but fuck you either way. You in front of her. Well, actually, what he said in front of his daughter's corpse after he stabbed her was, "Fuck you, you little bitch." I'm paraphrasing a bit, but the word bitch was definitely used. It was something like, "Look what you made me do, you little bitch," or something like that. So that's what he said in front of her corpse. So I wouldn't be too sure that it's quite a stoic act going on there. Papa struggled to choose his words. After a series of tiny groans followed by silence, he finally mutters. I see. Papa! Sensing that the call was almost over, I addressed him one last time. But surprisingly, he cut me off and addressed me. Huh? Oh, yeah? I don't know if they ever say whether Hyomo ever actually goes to Omori with her. It was something they said they do, but they never show that actually happening from memory. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I misremember, but maybe it was in a short. Might have been in a short. I really can't remember. But I'd like to see that. I'd like to see Hyomo go to Omori with her. That would be interesting. With the final run, he hangs up without saying goodbye. Papa! Damn. Yeah. But it's okay. Somehow at this very moment my heart felt refreshed. All this time I thought he didn't love me. Well, I mean, it's I wouldn't say that he loves you. If he loved you, he probably wouldn't have stabbed you in the past. Worse, I thought he hated me, that he'd forgotten about me. Oh, he's definitely not forgotten about you. He may hate you, but he's definitely not forgotten about you. Even though he's holding his feelings and emotions back, I'm still getting to see them. This may not be unconditional love, but it certainly was at one point. Yeah, he loved you when you were a child. I don't think he does anymore, though. I'm sorry to say. I examine the fork in my hand, and I'm filled with the confidence that I was, in fact, loved. He even told me to come visit, so this is only the beginning. Well, who knows if that
a fork with a bow on it. Yeah,
well, the problem is, does Camera ever buy her a fork? I really can't remember. It's been too long. It's been too long. I don't know if we ever actually got her a fork or not. He surely remembers that she wanted a fork. Well, we'll have to see. Well, who knows if that invitation will stand once the past changes. I still don't yet understand what the sort of phenomenon that Okabe claims occurs when the past changes. I trust Okabe, but it is subjective. Unilateral phenomenon, and as long as it cannot be observed without the reading Steiner, we can do nothing more than guess at its effects. If the past changes and the reading Steiner activates, does it mean that he travels to another parallel world, or does it mean that our world disappears? If the past changes, what happens to our current memories, experiences, and our feelings? What about each person's individual wishes and desires? Also, can I open my contacts list now? I really want to open the contact lists. I want to see if Maho's in there. Arrgh. If what Okabe says is true, it could be that when the past changes, all current events are rewritten. There's no telling whether that's true or not. If after all, if my feelings still remain, I will definitely go see Dad, with Okabe as he told me. For what? I raised a questioning eyebrow at Ferris-san. Ha! I forgot about that. What did she say? I'm sorry, what? Ah, shit! I accidentally spilled the beans. That's right. Looking back, I did say that. I told Papa that I love Okabe. Ah, shit. Help me. Please. I can't. Okabe. I can't save the person I love. That is what I said. I grab my head and fall into the Orts position. I said it! I really said it! To Papa of all people! I watched enough time-travelling movies to understand that if one string closes, it's still there and just arranges new from it. Well, I've only ever watched Back to the Future as a time-travelling movie, from all I can remember. I have wanted to watch Hot Tub Time Machine at some point, though. I want to watch that. It looked comical. What have I done? What should I do? Oh, what do you mean by that? She's absolutely right. She's absolutely right, but... Ah! Why? Why did I have to come out with that now? To my father, no less. Said Ferris-san as she patted my head. Could this be? Is this the butterfly effect? It took me more than 10 minutes to recover. I loved the fucking H text, the heavy breathing. That was brilliant. Okabe. Once Papa hung up, Ferris, Yukitaka Oji-sama, and I finalized our plans. But before heading over to the lab, I wanted to check on Okabe.
Don't worry, Fork Girl. Your father forget after you went Zoom.
True. He won't remember any of this, and he'll be a fucking dick again. Like he always is. He looks better rested, thanks to Kuroki-san's violent treatment. Good. Rest. You don't need any more pain. I gently caress Okabe's cheek. Then Okabe shakes his head and grimaces. He must be dreaming about her. But it doesn't look like a pleasant dream. He's probably dreaming about the many ways in which she's seen her get murdered. Like the horrible time she got hit by a fucking train. That wasn't a nice one. Okabe, hold on. I promise to free you from this nightmare. I'll leap to the past, just as you did for Mayuri. It's funny, isn't it? I had such an aversion to the idea of a time machine at first. My aversion to time machines. It was born out of my rejection of my father's obsession with them. Madoka Magica? What's that? What's Madoka Magica? And why are you getting flashbacks? But now, I have no such aversion. Especially after learning the truth about CERN's research, getting myself involved in the development of a time machine, and realizing that time travel is more than just junk science. But even putting aside my aversion, I do feel as though using the time machine myself is taboo. The time machine puts godlike power into our hands. It defangs causality, allowing you to change the past and erase history as we know it. And changing the past is against my personal creed. Papa and I had a big falling out 11 years ago. I wouldn't want to change that painful event, just because I have a time machine. Why does it keep changing between 7 and 11 years? I don't understand. Or maybe there were 2 events, I'm not sure. Everything that has occurred in my life has shaped the person that I am today. Losing even a single event would make me a different Makise Kurisu. And as long as this is true, I have no need to change the past. Nor do I think that the past should change. At least, as far as my personal past is concerned. So I'm doing this because of you, Okabe. Because you decided to leap through time over and over again to save Mayuri. So I'm trying to time someone but fails every time. Yeah, I mean that's basically what this is. And there's that, you know, if it's similar to this, I might give that a little bit of a spin. Okabe said that the first time was instinctive. He said that it was the only way he could think to save Mayuri, and his body moved on its own. And once he started, he couldn't stop. Human beings are like that. That's why people shouldn't become so dependent on power or play with forces beyond their control. But knowing the circumstances around his decision, I don't blame Okabe. Besides, my beliefs are my own, and not his. In other words, time leap I'm about to perform isn't something I'm doing myself. Rather, I'm standing in for Okabe just this once. Besides, we had no other option, and if it weren't for Papa persuading me, there's a chance that I wouldn't attempt a time leap at all. Of course, none of that is to say I would put that burden entirely on Okabe. Ultimately, it was my decision, and I can't stand seeing Okabe like this. There's no doubt that my desire to save him is a powerful motivator. Magical goals, but without happy. I mean, I always like a lack of happiness. Sadness is great content. Sometimes one must take action, even if it goes against their beliefs. I'm very much into dark comedy of sorts, so if it manages to mix this unhappiness with comedy, that's peak for me. While it's common among scientists, it's kind of a situation I never wish to encounter. But that's why I promise to guide you. For Mayuri, for myself, and for you, Okabe. Alright, and for Hashida too. Though he might be able to escape on his own if he doesn't get killed. Yeah, Hashida's fine. Like, literally, no one ever worries about Hashida, because he's always fucking fine. Like, in almost every reality, he's absolutely fine, because he's the GOAT. Honestly, I'm kinda scared. Even though I created the machine, there's no guarantee that it will work like I expect it to. But when I think you leaped in spite of the danger, I feel selfish. Of course, it's impossible that the time leap machine wouldn't work properly on someone without Okabe's reading Steiner ability. It may function differently based on a person's age and gender. Newly created technology always brings with it a number of unknowns, but Okabe leapt through time for Mayuri without a single assurance, so I want to do the same. That's right, for you. But even with my newfound determination, I'm really scared. I can't help it, no matter how much faith I have in my theory. That's why I'm sorry. I know it's unfair to ask, but please, give me the courage. I look at Okabe's sleeping face and move closer to him. I put my hands on his shoulders and slowly, gently draw closer, so close I can feel his body heat. And then I place my forehead against his. I bring my thoughts next to his thoughts, and we exchange breath and body heat. Well, I don't think this was very consensual, I can't lie. A bit of an unconsensual touching right here. Bit sus. Okabe, I love you. Despite your Chunibyo nonsense, despite how weird and clueless you are, despite your nerdy Norse mythology obsession, I love you in spite of it all. I know you call me Christina, Assistant, Celeb Sev and the Zombie to get on my nerves, but I mean they're all brilliant nicknames. What can I say? No, they are 10 out of 10. And what's the other one? That when he finds out that she's on that channel, I can't remember what it is, but it's brilliant. Eventually, I'll have you call me by my name.
Boop the Snoop.
Boop the Snoop. It's not consensual. You can't boot the Snoop if it's unconsensual while they're sleeping. That's wrong. Bad cookie. Eventually, I'll have you call me by my name, straight to my face. That was my one-sided confession to a sleeping man, a confession that was unfair in some ways and meaningless in others. I don't expect him to respond. In fact, I'd probably never live it down if he did, and it was for nothing more than my own satisfaction. But for now, that's good enough. Koki, you have to boop the Snoop only when it's consensual, my man. You can't be booping unconsensual Snoops. I don't intend on ignoring Mayuri either. I can make my official confession another time. This was just a sort of ceremony to receive the courage I needed. A ritual. With slight reluctance, I pull my body away from Okabe's. I wanted to stay with him a while longer, but I don't have a lot of time. If the Rounders decide to make a forceful move against us, it could all be over. Yeah, but your cat your cat probably consents, considering you feed it all the time. And cats are never really asleep anyway. Like, I can't remember a time. Well, actually, no. There's a few times when the cats have been actually asleep, and I've gone to stroke them, and they've jumped. Great, good breathing, buddy. When I stand up and look at Okabe, I can see that Okabe's once pained expression has turned into a more peaceful one. His breathing is normal and sounds healthy. Yeah, he's going to be okay. Alright, Okabe, I'm leaving. I open the bedroom door and step out into the hall to the living room. I saw Ferris waiting for me. For some reason, she was sighing with disappointment. Were you spying on me, madam? How dare you? Huh? What is it, Ferris? I realised how suspicious I must look given what I was just doing in there. What? What do you mean? I feel my body temperature spike. I'm sure my face is bright red. Wait, Ferris-san! You weren't peeking, were you? I'm sorry that I didn't do things to a sleeping man without his consent. Sorry that I was a decent person. Jeez. Can you give me the 3rd degree on this? Wouldn't want to be asleep around you. Actually, if we remember from the original game what happened in the world line where we ended up with her, she was very forceful, and I seem to remember at points thinking, well, I don't really have a choice in this, do I? So we know what this woman's like. We don't want to fall asleep around this woman.
説明しよう。ジェシャーブレイクとは相手の目を見るだけで気持ちが分かってしまう。
Yeah, sure, little missy.
それにしてもクーニャがここまで下手くだ
Shut the fuck up, lady.
じゃなかったら
Take two. No, there's no shot I'm doing that again. Who knew Farasan would be like this? She's a weird style of speech and even gives people weird nicknames. Between her and Okabe, why does Akihabara draw so many weirdos?
そんなことやってると先にもらっちゃうね。
Said Ferris with a devilish smile on her face. She looks so cute that even I might fall for her. Okabe wouldn't stand a chance.
もう冗談
Jeez, stop kidding around!
分かってるにゃ。冗談
For now, that's a bit ominous. I know that Ferris's true feelings are no joke. Even if I'm not good with people, I understand this much. But if someone told me to compete with Ferris fair and square, I'd be in real trouble. I don't have the wealth of experience I need to deal with competition like this, especially with everything else going on. I don't think I'd even have the mental capacity for it, unless we save Mayuri and the situation stabilized.
だからちゃんと勝負ができるように。クーニャもしかして
Did you just read my mind with Cheshire Break again? Could she really have some sort of psychic power? No, of course not. As a scientist, I can't accept that. But that would mean she has incredibly sharp intuition. Now I'm curious. I want to study this. I really like to conduct some experiments with Ferris as my test subject. But I have to hold off for now. We can make her a lab rat later. I know. That's why I'm going.
私はさて
That should do it. Before long, we had made preparations and returned to the lab, where we now stood in front of the time leak machine.
クーニャ下の大きなテレビ電源入ってるのを確認
Awesome.
ありがとう。
Thanks. The lift is ready too. With that, I activate the time leak machine. Now all that's left is to put on the headgear and press the enter key.
いよいよにゃ。
Farasan came over and held my hand tightly.
そう
Yeah, this is the moment of the century. Since Okabe has already used the time leak machine, this won't be the world's first instance of time travel, but it does mark the dawn of time travel experiments. When I will become one of the pioneers. The fear I felt earlier had waned, replaced by feelings of elation and curiosity. But at the same time, if I time leap, my reconciliation with Papa and the gift of my personal fork will be undone. 07 the fork. Salute the fork. I'll be sending my current memories to a me who exists in a time before I spoke to Papa. After that, I'll be putting all of my efforts toward helping Okabe instead of reconciling with him. If I didn't time leap, would Okabe someday be able to accept Mayuri's death and go to Amori with me? My mind wanders towards these possibilities, but I seal away all the confusion in my heart. My pride as a scientist, my feelings towards my father, they are minor compared to what's at stake. This is how it's supposed to be, right, Papa? Okabe, Mayuri, Hashida. It's all up to me now. The destination is yesterday, around 5:30 PM, when everything was bathed in twilight. If Okabe were here, he would say, I'm going to a place that's neither day or night, but somewhere in between. Twilight. Tasogare. The Japanese word comes from how hard it is to see people in unusual lighting. People would ask one another, who are you? Tasokare? I remember one of my upperclassmen at Victor Condria telling me about the mythology of his home country. Once upon a time, the god of lightning forged a deal with a demon. The deal read, the demon shall not day or night be harmed with anything dry or wet. But in order to defeat the demon, the god of lightning created the twilight. And to slay it, he used a weapon made of the bubbles of the ocean, something neither dry nor wet. In another myth, the demon was said to have obtained immunity to humans, gods, beasts, and other demons, whether day or night, inside or outside. In order to oust it, another god became a fusion of both lion and man, which was classified as neither beast nor human, and during the twilight. Defeated the demons standing in a doorway, neither outside nor in. Damn, these like Norse and Greek gods really do they do be a bit cheeky. That's what he told me. Perhaps the moral of this myth is that when you're presented with two losing options, keep calm and think about whether there is a third. By using reason or by thinking outside the box, you can always find a third option. How oddly suited Twilight is to untangling the mess of causality in order to arrive at the correct option. What am I doing? Thinking of myths at a time like this. Well, I suppose that's just how we are. Most scientists are just romantic chinibio. Spend enough time around them and it's only a matter of time before they rub off on you. Don't worry, it's nothing, okay? I'm going to leave now. Take care of everyone. I smile at her and then put on the headgear. We're time traveling! Electricity arcs through the air, and my surroundings are consumed by a whitish blue light. The ground shudders below my feet. Let's go. I press the enter key on the keyboard. My body shakes as if I'm caught in the middle of a large earthquake. It's enough to throw me into the air. It felt like my body was about to make the leap along with my memories. No, that's not what leaped. Was it the world? We're off! I'm going back in time to Friday. What is this? Ah! A ringing in my ear pierces deep in my brain like a metal pair of forceps. It feels as if the cells of my central nervous system are being torn apart in every direction, down to the atomic level. Sight, sound, touch, smell, taste. All 5 of my senses ignore my brain signals and receive information of their own accord. And it's not just my senses. My heart starts acting on impulse, running through emotions until it feels like I'm about to burst. This is... Yes, observe, analyze. I have to determine what this is. Extreme nausea and drunkenness erupt through me. My sense of gravity grows vague, and I'm jumbled around back and forth, side to side, and up and down. The image of the world reconstructs in my brain as if an artist put it together out of scattered mosaic tiles. That's right. I remember the future. This is the worst feeling. I think Okabe did this like hundreds to thousands of times. The world gradually comes back together. As my vision grows clearer, the mysterious sounds and sensations withdraw as if I'm awakening from a dream. When I come to, I'm culled into the fetal position on the floor of the lab. The rays of sunset beam through the window. We really need to experiment. I don't think it'd be this bad. I'll keep that in mind for later. You could ride a roller coaster over and over again and not feel this sick. This is valuable data. I wonder why. Does the brain get confused by memories that theoretically shouldn't exist and force the body through a series of illusions? It can't be a simple physiological phenomenon. But Okabe could have warned me. At any rate, I still feel sick. This degree of discomfort would make it dangerous for anyone frail to use. They'd be consumed by it. Could this be one of the reasons Okabe broke down the way he did? I can see how this would wear on you. I'm sorry, Okabe. I managed to keep the contents of my stomach where they belong and check the time on my cell phone. August 13th, 7:24. Or 5:24, 17:24, I can't read. The time leap was a success. Success being a relative term. I've been in pain for about 10 minutes now. I wonder how it was for Okabe. From what I observed, it didn't look like his time leaps took as much out of him. Did he get used to it? Or am I just weak and feeble? Or maybe the effects vary between men and women, or from person to person. Besides, Okabe is with reading Steiner too. I sluggishly pull myself to my feet. I have to get to the bridge in front of the UPX, like Ferris told me. If she's right, Okabe should be there. We only have a couple of hours before Mayuri dies. Considering it was around 7 PM, I have an hour and a half. I have to reinvigorate Okabe and send him back to the past within that time. I know this is the only way. If Okabe has the time leap, it means he has to go through the same discomfort. In my what? In my Discord? Oh, my Discord's like broken as fuck. I don't know what I've done to my Discord. Not on the right account right now. But yeah, I really need to fix my Discord. It really just does not work. I definitely got to fix that at some point. I know this is the only way. If Okabe has to time leap, it means he has to go through the same discomfort. Okabe, I'm really sorry. I'll upgrade it to make it less physically taxing next time. To keep Okabe from getting too concerned, I won't tell him that I performed a time leap to be here. That's the rule. Let's go. Wait for me, Okabe. The effects on the time leap were unexpectedly intense. I didn't expect the road to feel this long. I can normally get there in no time. It takes all of my strength just to keep my legs moving, and every breath is a struggle. Eventually, however, I make it to the front of UPX. There. Just ahead of me, I saw Okabe crouched down in the middle of the UPX bridge. Even now, he looked so despondent. It was hard for me to believe that Okabe could look so depressed. For me, this was a mere 20 hours ago, but for him, it could have been a lifetime. Just seeing him like this nearly brings me to tears. But crying now would be meaningless. I didn't jump back in time to cry. I must reach out to Okabe. That's what I should do. Something only I can do. Hey Okabe. Just how many times have you remembered your horrible memories from the future? How many times have you witnessed Mayuri's death? In the middle of this city, overflowing with the sounds of joy and excitement, you have fought alone, and it's reduced you to this. Unable to rely on anyone else, torn apart in body and soul. The agony and despair are breaking you. I'm sorry. I've watched you all this time, but I never realized. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I made you fight alone. Hey, Okabe. I don't want to see you like this. I want you to call me by those weird nicknames. Assistant. Christina. The Zombie. Celeb Sev. They're annoying, and one day I want you to call me by my name, but it's more like you to call me by those nicknames. I want that back. Hey, Okabe. Am I going to be able to show you the right path as worn out as you are? Will I be able to help you? I want to save you. I of course want to save Mayuri and Hashida too, but most of all, I want to save you. I don't want to hide this feeling from myself. I already opposed my own beliefs for it. I erased reconciling with Papa after 10 years of thinking he hated me. So, Okabe, next time, I want you to rely on me. On me, your ally. On me, your assistant. If you do, I will absolutely show you the way. I take a deep breath, suppressing the emotion that almost crushes my heart. I stand in front of Okabe, begging my voice not to tremble. What are you doing sitting down, you DQN idiot? When I call out to him. Whoa, I got an achievement. Okabe slowly lifts his head. Classic scene, and looks at me with hollow eyes. And that's the end. Oh, yes! Oh, I can't believe we actually got a lore storyline. That's crazy. I didn't think it would actually tie into the original. That's insane. I'm so happy with that. That was brilliant. Yay, we did it. I did it. More achievements. Give me all those achievements. Hell yeah. Let's fucking go. Let's see what we got. Clear list. We've done 3 now. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful. Got over 25% in achievements. It's looking brilliant. What's the CG library? I can't remember what that is. Oh yeah, we got new ones. We got a good few Christina ones there. Her sitting on the cogs. Her by the bed. I like this one. I think this one's cute. And then we've got this one. Looking fucking disheveled. We've got her screaming into the phone like a lunatic. Do we get any? No, we didn't get any extra ones. Although our Pac-Man will always be forever the best one. We gotta love our Pac-Man. Sounds, no more movies. Tips we get hundreds of. Mail list. Did we? No, that's not the right button. Did we 100% the mail list? We did! There were literally 2 messages. Imagine if we'd have failed the mail list with literally only 2 messages to receive. But we 100%ed it, so that's brilliant. Oh, and that's going to be it for me before lunch, because it is 20 minutes till lunchtime for me. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to eat my lunch, and then I will return in an hour or 2, and I will do another one. I wonder what one we'll do. We have 3 options. We got Suzuha, Mr. Braun, or Ferris. And I not yet decided which one to do, but we'll see. Pineapple on pizza? Is that what you're having for lunch, Koki? I personally will just be having toast. I wonder what is for dinner tonight. Now I'm curious, because I'll have my hot meal for dinner. But now you've made me curious. I don't know what for dinner is. So I'm gonna go find out what's for dinner. And you know what? Since it's still like 20 minutes till lunchtime, I'll fix my Discord server in the meantime, because that needs to be done. And since you brought it up, I might as well do it. You don't know what you're going to eat now? Well, I'm sure you'll figure it out. But I hope to see you later. Thanks for popping by. And if I don't see you again today, I hope that your anniversary stream goes really well. I'm sure you will absolutely... The words, I can't words, but I'm sure it will go great. I'm sure you do amazing. But bye bye for now. See you later.